You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
Hello there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation. It is a special episode today because it is time to look back 10 years ago and a little bit more to discuss the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. Looking back on the first, the beginnings, if you will, of the Disney Star Wars era. And we are here. Andrew, Conor, and Donovan are here, the full crew, but we have a very special guest. You might know her from Twitter. You might know her from Instagram. Mads is joining us. How are you doing?
Doing good. Excited to talk Force Awakens. Again, 10 years is nuts, and I feel
crazy.
Old. I really shouldn't feel old.
Oh, I hate it.
I am old. I've had...
When I decided that, hey, we should do something for The Force Awakens because Lucasfilm doesn't look like it's going to do anything for it. I was like, you know, what better way to celebrate this movie than to bring maybe the biggest Rey fan I know to talk about her debut. So, obviously, you and I are liking that this movie introduced us to a character that, in both of our cases, really changed our lives and how we view Star Wars. And I feel as though her impact on the Star Wars saga and this movie's impact on the Star Wars saga isn't nearly as talked about now as it was in 2015, and it really hasn't been for the longest time. So I want to change that because 2025, we did a lot of great reminiscing and retrospectives on Revenge of the Sith. But it wasn't the only Star Wars movie that had a major milestone anniversary. And this was a big cultural milestone when this movie came out that people sometimes like to pretend it wasn't. This is still the highest grossing domestic movie ever for North America. So obviously this was a big time to be going to the movies and to be a Star Wars fan. And we'll be looking back at not only the movie. Go ahead.
I remember the memes that came out like in 2015 when Age of Ultron made like a lot of money, and then Jurassic World made a lot of money, and there were constant memes of like The Force Awakens like going, "Hold my beer," because everyone knew that movie was just going to make an absolute killing at the box office. It was just
looking
insane.
Back
the
on
fever pitch around The Force
Everyone
Awakens
was waiting.
Is so it's so exciting.
From the minute, well, really from the time that the Disney purchase was announced, but more specifically to the minute that teaser trailer dropped a year and change before the movie came out, it was like, we are ready, set, ready to go to see Star Wars again. And it was just a big moment that we are obviously very excited to look back on and talk about, because we're not only going to be talking about the movie, our favorite parts of the movie, what stuck out to us in the 10 years since, but we're obviously going to be going back to what we were doing 10 years from now and our memories of the premiere of The Force Awakens and the mania surrounding it. But first, this is something we do with all first-time guests, kind of putting you on the spot here, Mads. Do you have like a memory, like a first memory of being introduced to Star Wars and what like really got you connected to the franchise that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, so actually I do have like a very strong memory of that because it was 2012 when I first watched it. My parents weren't big Star Wars fans, so I kind of was the first one in my family that was like real big into Star Wars, and I've just kind of dragged everyone along with, and I'm genuinely surprised how much they actually know at this point. But it was 2012, so I would have been like 13 or 14. And there were a few things that like kind of led up to my decision, I guess, to watch Star Wars. Like I've always been a big Disney Parks fan. So I'd ridden Star Tours at Walt Disney World a few times. I was a a huge fan of like Singing in the Rain, which is Debbie Reynolds, and her daughter is Carrie Fisher. So there was like that connection. And like, this is also not weird, but like when I was born, my parents didn't know what gender I was going to be. So if I was a girl, I was going to be named Mads. And if I was a boy, I was going to be named Harrison after Harrison Ford. So it's like all these little things in my life that just kind of like all of a sudden led to this moment where I was like, no, I'm going to watch Star Wars. So it was just always kind of in the back of my head of like, I don't know, maybe I'd like it. So I was driving home from spring break down in Alabama back up to Wisconsin, and somehow I managed to find A New Hope. And I think it was the original version because I didn't remember the Jabba the Hutt scene when I rewatched it again. And I found it on YouTube, clearly illegally, because it was in like 20-minute increments. And we were driving through the mountains.
That's the 2012 experience right there. Part 1 of 26. Yeah, here we go.
Literally. And it was so, like, it was on, like, my dinky, like, Samsung Galaxy phone or something that I was watching this, and the cell service was trash, so it took me, like, 3.5 hours to watch this movie. But it, like, literally was the best thing I had ever seen in my entire life. I was like, this is amazing. I need more of this. So like then that night I was like on Wikipedia reading everything. I think the next day I found an illegal version of The Empire Strikes Back. I then watched it on my phone again. And it just kind of spiraled from there.
And then
what? And that's basically all I knew. I knew like Yoda. I knew that Vader was Luke's father, but like I didn't know that Luke and Leia were twins. Like that's how out of the Star Wars loop I was.
Neither did George Lucas when he made the Empire.
No, exactly. I was on the same level of fandom as George Lucas when he first watched Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Crazy.
But yeah, no. I was just gonna say.
That was like spring 2012, and then it hit at just the right time because I had like 6 months in there where I was exploring all the Star Wars stuff and the expanded universe and all of that, assuming that nothing else was going to come from it. Like I knew Clone Wars was still airing at that point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden in late 2012 in October, they were like, surprise, we get more movies. And I was like, yes, this is the best thing ever. So it kind of hit at just the right time. But that's my very long story of how I managed to get into Star Wars, and I haven't.
That was great.
Stopped.
Perfect.
Finding an illegal original version of the OG of the OT. Well, that's
even know. I didn't even know that there were different versions until I watched with my family, like found in a drawer somewhere like the special edition VHS tapes, because I was like, I can't find Return of the Jedi, and I finally got desperate enough and I asked my parents, because for some reason I thought this needed to be some big secret that I was like, I love Star Wars. It's the weirdest anxiety thing that a middle schooler could do.
My first experience with the original trilogy was like VHS tapes of the original trilogy, but they were recorded by my grandfather, like the TV airing of them.
Oh my god!
I thought I had them somewhere. I thought I had, for the longest time, I thought I had his copy of Return of the Jedi, and then I looked at it and it was like, I think it was Back to the Future 3 or something. I'm like, that is not.
It's been taped over with a football.
That is not what I thought it was.
Wait a minute, this is a Western. This ain't Star Wars.
This is Star Wars. 2018 comes out. Oh, wait a minute, it is actually. But I guess I will also take us back to 2012 to really begin the conversations of The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if this was the year that the Disney purchase was announced or the year before, but I remember we used to have this cabin that my friend and I would go to. My family had it. My friend would come down. We would rent like a boat, like a paddle boat on the lake. And we would just talk about like what we'd want to see from Star Wars and like our excitement of like potential future stories. And I remember around the time the Underworld show was like rumors that was going to happen. So we're like, oh, I heard Palpatine's going to be in it. Like these characters might be in it. Like, what do you think could happen here? And then I remember the Phantom Menace 3D re-release was announced. And they were like, we're going to be going.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
We're going to be going.
Yeah.
We're going to be releasing all of them. It's going to be Phantom Menace, then it's going to be Attack of the Clones, and like we're going to go from there. And then when the Disney purchase was announced, they scrapped them. But I believe they've screened episode 2 and 3 at Celebrations before. I don't know if that's true. I just remember hearing that. But my crack theory at the time was, I have a feeling that they're going to release all of these movies, and then after they release Return of the Jedi, they're going to announce episode 7 coming soon. 4 months later, the Disney purchase is announced.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen. But we get the announcement that episode 7 is happening. I remember, I think I took a nap or something. I wake up, I see George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney. I'm like, for 4-point-something billion. I'm like, wait a minute, we're getting a new Star Wars movie? And then that just kind of changed the trajectory of my life going forward, because around the time that teaser trailer hit, it was like, no, we are engulfing everything fully into it, to the point where like my senior year of high school, I was the Star Wars guy, and I am fully embracing that and loving it, because that teaser trailer, we can talk about all the lead into it. That was just so, I can't even begin to express how that felt, of like, this is something we never thought we'd get again. We were told for all these years that Revenge of the Sith, that was it. We're never getting another Star Wars movie. George was very adamant about that. But in my mind, I was always like, but is he though? And then to finally get this trailer was just like the realization of a dream come true. And this was a different time back then. This was back when, if you dared suggest online that you even like a scene from the prequels, you are the worst person to ever exist. And this was the point where if you said something like, hey, I like this scene in the special editions, you are the worst person to ever exist. And let me just say, this is going to kill my standing with the Gen X Star Wars fandom. I don't care. The special edition controversy is the dumbest thing known to mankind. I do not care that there's CGI.
I like
Jabba
the
Hutt in
explosion
scene.
rings.
I do not care. Yes, it's really cool that we are getting the original A New Hope in theaters next year. That's going to be awesome. I do not fucking care that there was added CG in certain scenes. Are there certain scenes I don't like? Yes. Does it ruin the movie and I need to watch these? That was the big thing in 2015. I remember it was like, I would watch all the Star Wars podcasts and they were like, we're going to watch the despecialized versions of the original trilogy. And we're going to watch these versions of the prequels that cut out a lot of the corny stuff and make it cool and badass. I'm like, what is wrong? Like, I look back on that and I was like always the kid that was like, oh, but I kind of like the prequels, but I got a nod. I got a nod.
Yes.
I got a nod in agreement.
I wonder what those particular people are up to now.
Probably saying the same stuff.
Yeah, probably saying the same stuff, but like, I'm very curious.
Saying the same stuff and like voting questionably.
Right
and
well,
like,
now it's changed
posting
to
like weird screens about like female characters in Star Wars.
Yeah,
now but I want to really add on to what you're saying, Andrew. There because
my life. Go ahead.
I mean, that's I
was gonna.
Oh God, yeah.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they now changed their tune because it's a popular opinion to love the.
It's
prequel, which I mean, I also love the prequels, but it's the popular opinion that the prequels are like better than the original trilogy. I mean, I've heard before, and it's like
you go on TikTok. Revenge of the Sith is the best movie since Citizen Kane. So like you got that
which I mean, in some ways, sure, but in other ways, it's very much. I don't know.
I love the prequels, and like the love for the prequels from our generation is genuine because those are the movies we grew up with in a lot of the cases. Yep. So, but again,
dude, I watched some of these people die with my own eyes at 8 years old, man.
Yeah,
it should traumatize me.
Some of these people,
I saw it happen. Don't tell me it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I was there in 2015.
I was there, Gandalf.
Saying, I like again related to The Force Awakens too. I was there when a bunch of you had this movie at number 1 on your end of the year countdown list, and you were like, "This movie's great. This might be the best Star Wars since Empire." Like I remember that.
The grift.
I remember like a lot of these,
but
like the big critic boards, I talked about this beforehand, literally delayed their listings so they could have, because a lot of these like critic institutions, I don't know why I'm struggling to put this back on the stand. A lot of these, I'm gonna forget about that now. But
never mind.
They have like a deadline of like anything released prior to December 1st does not count for these lists. They delayed that so they could put The Force Awakens on their lists. That's how beloved and hyped this movie was when it first came out.
Yeah.
But again, remember, no one ever liked this movie. No one likes the sequel trilogy. You go to Disney parks, you don't see anyone that likes them. That's what I've been told, even though I know it's not true. Because I was literally just there,
so
and there's
true.
always people dressed as Rey. But again, that's none of my business.
It's that same as telling people that they don't, that no one liked the prequels, really, when we all have like lived experience to the contrary. But like,
dude,
I was just going to add on to like something you said there.
The prequels are so interesting.
They really are.
Because
they really are.
For me, the reason why I kind of really appreciated them, or started to really, when I like had enough of a consciousness, I guess, was the Lego Star Wars games. Like, I don't know how, but like playing through those games so much, and I guess just getting the bare bones of the of that story in that form, I was like, this is pretty good. I think George was onto something here.
Yeah.
My favorite bit of the first Lego Star Wars game is like them trying to articulate Anakin and Padme's argument in Revenge of the Sith with just Lego noises, and you've got Lego Anakin going, ugh, ugh, and Lego Padme looking sad. But like, I was just going to add on to what you said, Andrew, because like I completely agree with what you said about like the fever around this movie was incredible. Like there was such a fever around it because for years, you know, we thought Star Wars was done after the prequels. You know, I remember going to see Revenge of the Sith. I talked about this before. We covered Revenge of the Sith at the start of our Andor recaps. That watching it, it felt like this is it. This is the last Star Wars movie. We're never going to see this again. And I used to spend time thinking about Episode 7 and the possibilities of it. Funnily enough, when the trailer for J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek film came out, I remember looking at it and going, oh man, I wish I could see a Star Wars film like this in like the modern day. That would be so cool. And then I remember hearing the announcement, and it was like, oh, that's mad. But for years, sorry, what?
No, I was just saying, newsflash, you got it.
Yeah. We did, in fact.
Exactly.
Not once, but twice.
Right, twice, 2 times he did it.
We did, in fact, get that. Like, it felt for years like this mythical thing in a way, Episode 7. Like, for years, it felt like this mythical thing that we all wanted, but it felt like it was out of reach. Almost like Treasure Planet in a way, or Treasure Island, this mythical object that was just out of reach, but seemed like this idealized thing. And I remember, as you said, waking up and seeing that article about the Disney purchase. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a piss take at first. I was like, wait, what? No way. This can't be real. We're not getting more Star Wars. Surely, like, I'm dreaming or something. And then slowly I acclimatized myself to it because, like, I'd spent like the last couple of years on and off watching the Clone Wars and sort of getting immersed in that. And even then, I was still like had the awareness of, oh, this is just still leading towards the original trilogy, and there's a finite amount of Star Wars left. And then I remember watching like Series 5 after that announcement and being like, oh my God, there's more Star Wars coming. This isn't the end. This is going to carry on. And I remember the fever pitch developing to the point where that first trailer arrived. I mean, you know, I said about it before, like I actually went to the auditions like for that in a way. I didn't actually audition. I just queued for hours. But like I remember going into that and the feeling the fever around it because there were so many people who queued there. Yeah, so they did casting calls in the UK because they filmed over there. They did, I believe. I don't know if that's how they found. I don't know if that's how they found John Boyega and Daisy Ridley because she was quite an unknown quantity at the time as an actress. Yeah. But like, they were holding casting calls all over the UK because they were filming there. And because I lived closest to Manchester at the time, I went to the casting calls in Manchester. So I get up at like 3 in the morning, head off there with my
3 in the morning.
Yeah, so I headed off there with my dad at like 3.
I mean, I probably would do that
like
too.
Hours later.
Yeah, I get there at 1 a.m. I don't care
what time.
I barely slept. I was basically working off of adrenaline and a McDonald's egg McMuffin that we stopped for. That gave me the fuel. I basically spent hours queuing there. It was great. It was a great experience. We were packed like sardines in there. There were so many people.
my
And
god.
normally I would be overwhelmed, really, given my neurodivergency, but like it was so exciting, and there were so many people. I actually made a couple of friends there. I've said it before.
Wow.
To like talk about the prequel stuff. There was a guy there who I struck up a conversation with, this guy and this girl, and he asked me, "What do you think of the prequels?" And I said, honestly, I don't think they're as bad as everyone says they are. And he gestured to the heavens, I shit you not, and shouted, "Finally, someone else." That's an encapsulation of how people felt about the prequels at the time, and how rare it was to find someone else that liked them. But yeah, long story short, I didn't actually get into audition. I went up to like a tent, and someone sort of like waved me to the left, and I didn't initially like process it at the time until I got out, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I won't be auditioning. But it was a fun experience. There was actually like a Darth Vader and stormtroopers who actually walked up and down. They walked up and down the queue line and like interacted with people. I got a selfie with the Darth Vader. One of the stormtroopers let me hold their blaster rifles, which was ace. It was a crazy experience. But like that for me was so folded into that whole experience of like anticipating The Force Awakens. And like I remember the first teaser trailer hitting, and just the euphoria of that, and like just seeing all the images and be like, what does this mean? How does this all work? And it's just
that?
It's just incredible. And I can't wait to talk about like
we're
the whole feeling
the,
we're gonna get from like watching this for the first time. Anyway,
there's been an awakening. Have you felt it for the first time? Life change, and then Finn popping up,
insane.
And then I'm not going to talk about the stupid controversy that came from Finn showing up when people were like, "Oh, but they're supposed to be clones of Jango Fett." I'm like, no.
There was someone somehow that came up when I was in like high school. One of my classes, someone was like talking to their friend, and they're like, "I don't understand how there's a black stormtrooper and blah blah blah." And I like inserted myself into their conversation, and it was like, I was like, actually, they're not. And technically, Tamir Morrison is not. I mean, he's. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Like New Zealand, like that area. I'm gonna get it wrong, but I was like, he's also not white. So I don't know what you're complaining about. But and they were like, who are like, who
is this person?
Are you? Even
I remember having after the movie came out. I remember having conversations with some of my teachers about the movie, and like,
oh my god,
again. Different movie. In college, we had to do like this video essay project, and I did mine about TLJ and the toxicity around the fandom at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember like I went off on it. I ended it with one more thing, and the Hugh Jackman clip from First Class of like, oh yeah, go fuck yourself. Like I ended it with that. The whole room started like clapping, and then my professor goes, I mean, I hate this movie, but you made some really good points. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks. I'll take it.
They stoned Jesus for he spoke the truth.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, no, even like the casting calls and
you just reminded me of that Obi-Wan Jesus meme, Conor.
Oh god.
I mean, he is Jesus, so.
But
he is Star Wars.
There is. When you talk about how hyped this movie was, I can't remember in my lifetime, except for maybe the Doomsday Chair stuff, but like the excitement over a cast reveal when this movie came out.
Oh my god!
I was like, oh my god, the original trilogy is coming back. And who is Adam Driver's in this? Oscar Isaac. Who is Daisy Ridley? And like just all the talk, which leads me to this. Do you remember seeing this?
Yes, I was thinking about that the other day.
Oh my god!
Thinking about what was going to come up during this podcast, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if the poster is going to come up." I unironically kind of love the poster. It's so bad. It's so bad, and it's clearly inaccurate.
You've got Adam Driver is like Boba Fett. You've got Andy Serkis as what looks like Captain Typho to me. Max von Sydow was just there. You've got Domhnall Gleeson and Boyega as the two Jedi. You've got is that just a headshot of Mark Hamill? Like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just his headshot.
Oscar Isaac there, Daisy and like some like Padme regalia, and then the original 3. I do like that they have Leia as a Jedi front and center. But yeah, no, this was like a thing.
Wild.
I sent you another poster. Andrew, that I remember of that time.
What is that? Was
It's
this
in the Discord?
was this like during that time period? Or was this like around Infinity War? Because I have never seen.
Yes,
this
it was
before.
leading into it. It was before anyone knew anything about like the cast. Yeah, it was like so. It's basically a poster that really So that's basically.
Wait, Don.
So have you heard?
Oh my god!
The Parks and Rec episode. Have you
Oh
heard
my
of the
God.
Parks and Rec
Yes!
episode?
Yes!
Is that what this is about?
Rambles
That's what this.
for, like,
Oh
minutes.
my
Yes,
god!
it's based off of. It's based off of Patton Oswalt's ramble from Parks
And then
Rec, where he just
Boba
goes
Fett's
off
hand
on
comes
stuff.
from the Sarlacc.
Dude,
Yeah.
Boba Fett's
Come
hand
back to the Quinjet.
thing being in the first shot we see of Book of Boba Fett is still wild.
Lost my mind. Yeah.
Patton Oswalt called
my
it.
God.
My favorite thing about that is Chewie having a spider body.
God,
Wait,
Like
hold
Darth
on. Does he
Maul?
have it in the?
Wait.
Oh my god, he does. It's like his head
Oh my
floating
God.
on a spider.
And there's Moon Knight. There's like a Moon Knight in the background as well, because he's like, oh, he wouldn't get the Avengers wouldn't have Black Widow or Hawkeye really. They'd have Moon Knight. Because it was a very clear piss take. Patton Oswalt, he knows his shit to take the piss out of weird nerds. But yeah, that was a wild thing. I remember
Connor,
seeing that poster.
when
Like,
you
what is
stepped
this?
away, we talked about this.
Yeah.
This bad boy.
insane. Okay, I was really because dude, when I stepped away and I saw the poster, I was like, of course this poster. Because like I was like, I really hope we talk about that poster, man.
Yeah.
Mandalorian Adam Driver is still the best thing about that poster. Just Mandalorian Adam Driver is the best thing about that. Because like everything else is great, but that just sticks out to me so much. I love it. It's like it's the greatest fan poster ever. Just low effort. So good.
It's so good.
It's such a fever dream, low effort poster, and I just love it so much.
But I guess now we can start to transition into the
It's
actual
the more
like
whimsical fan era,
months.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
before the dark times of like, dude, I'll never forget. We'll probably get to this in like 2 years, with Last Jedi. But like, I'm just gonna say it now. I'll never forget, dude. When I saw Last Jedi like in theaters, like the morning after I woke up, I was like, dude, this might be the most beloved Star Wars movie of all time. How wrong I was.
Oh,
I think the very first thing I saw after I saw it was like the first article of like Last Jedi getting review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, but yeah,
it's beginning.
Yeah, dude, Force Awakens is so funny to me because like everything besides like the day I actually saw it, I don't really remember. Because senior year of high school, I was so focused on stuff other than Star Wars.
I was hooked into it. Then I guess we can talk about the direct few months and weeks getting into the movie. The first real trailer hits at Celebration. It ends with the Chewie We're Home, which I think is still maybe the best trailer moment in the entire franchise. The line that made grown men cry, and cry they did. That was like the first real like, oh no, we're back.
Oh shit.
We're back.
We're back.
as a teenager who was never a Han Solo person, I was always a Jedi guy. I lost it. My spirit ascended. That shot of Han Solo and Chewie in the Falcon, like just with all the new stuff, and suddenly you get the two of them together. I just lost it. I felt like such emotion because it was like, oh my god, it really Star Wars is really.
Dude, I rewatched
this
that
is
part sometimes,
and it seemed like such an impossible thing. We all thought Harrison Ford would never come back to Star Wars.
Never.
He always seemed like I remember thinking, even when they announced it, well, they might get Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. They probably won't get Harrison Ford because he hates Star Wars. He never likes to come back. You know, and to hear that he'd signed on, I was like, what? And we'll get into this, but like the fact that he came back, not only that he came back, but that he turned in a real performance in this movie
I think
is
it
incredible.
might be his best.
he came back in episode 9.
Yeah. That one shocked
He's
me.
not in the
No.
credits even for episode 9
No,
either.
it's
Not
uncredited.
that that's
Wild.
important, but it's uncredited. It's
That's
wild.
wild. Yeah, no, him showing up as like a ghost in episode 9 threw me for a goddamn loop in the theater.
Him showing up at Celebration the other year, like, threw me for a loop. Like, after, like, I
Yeah.
think it was for Dial of Destiny. I was like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here? Or
It's
maybe
like,
it was,
wait a minute.
yeah. But yeah, no, Mads, around this time
Yeah.
when we're getting into the lead up to the movie, take us into a picture of your life at this point. What was
my
your feelings?
God.
What were you doing to prepare for the awakening?
Well, I was I was in high school. I think I was a junior. So I mean, not quite like senior year of high school where I'm like applying to college and whatever, so I could like actually tap into the Star Wars side of things. I was very much on Tumblr at that time, as
Oh, no.
I think a good number of people are. No, it was good. The
Okay,
Star Wars
okay.
community was wild, but like it was actually really good. And going back to someone said earlier, like what it was like to be a fan at that time, I felt like at least the people I was around on Tumblr were like normal, but there were so many like just fun fan theories that weren't like any sort of serious anything, but it was so fun to be a part of that and people
I
like
didn't
trying to
tell everybody's
dissect
fan.
things. What?
No, like I'm thinking about the fan theories that all came out, and I'm sure like none of them were like, oh yeah, I didn't
none
Del
were.
from Balfour too, or
No.
Ray's parents.
No, seriously. Well, I mean, it was that kind of stuff, but even just like little, maybe not fan theory stuff, but just like little snippets of like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to see a clip of this character and this character interacting? Like just like fun stuff. So it was a lot of like over analyzing every single shot of that trailer and rewatching it and all the GIFs that were like coming out of it and lots of like fan art, honestly, which going back to like the trailer and the whole Han Solo thing, there were so many pieces of fan art. Like once it was announced the original trilogy cast was coming back, I just remember seeing everyone making fan art of like, I mean, not to be like, you know, what's it going to be like when we see the three of them on the screen together, which we never really got, unfortunately. But it was a lot of stuff like that. So it was really cool, especially when the trailer came out and then obviously the movie, to like see all of these things realized that we could only see in the expanded universe or in fan art and that kind of stuff. So that was really fun. And then just keeping up with like, because I think they were at D23 and there was Comic-Con. I can't remember if it was the D20 or a celebration. There must have been a celebration that year. But there were two separate panels that I distinctly remember.
That's when the Chewie We're Home trailer dropped.
Oh shit, you're right.
That's when it
Celebration 2015.
dropped.
I think that was in May. I remember being in high school because I was in like a class when that dropped, and I was like, "Can I use the restroom?" So I could like leave class to go watch it. But I definitely remember. I feel like it was Comic-Con and D23 that there were two panels. Maybe I think the Comic-Con one was like the big one where it was like the entire cast showed up. That was like a primary memory that I have leading up to it, was like watching that Comic-Con panel probably like 7 times just because it was so fun. One, to see Mark and Carrie and Harrison together, but then two, like, what's Daisy, and the theory, sorry, I'm just going off on a tangent now. Like with the theories of like, who's Daisy playing? And like, I remember people even questioning like, okay, she's British, but is she going to use a British accent or is she going to use an American accent? Because that indicates like two different things, like who she could be related to, which that's not how accents work, but that's how everyone was theorizing it. And like, even stuff like that, like, okay, well, how does is Daisy going to speak this way and that kind of thing? And I feel like that's when like Starkiller Base got accidentally dropped in the middle of that panel. I can't remember who said it, but someone accidentally said Starkiller Base and everyone was like, oh shit, you weren't supposed to say that.
I remember when that first got revealed, and then I was like, fuck me, if that's Elam, I'm gonna kill the story group. And then fucking Fallen Order comes out. And I'm just like, fuck!
Yeah, I remember.
Holy shit, you called that?
A lot of my.
It was Elam?
No. Like, I just remember, I didn't call it, but I just was like, I remember when Force Awakens came out, and then like I saw a bunch of stuff about like, oh, maybe it could be Ilum, and then I remember a Wookiee scrolling on Wikipedia one day, and like the coordinates of Starkiller and the coordinates of Ilum were the exact same, and I just connected the dots, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill Pablo if this is fucking Ilum. And then Fallen Order comes out. I remember Fallen Order comes out, and you get to the mission where like the Empire strip mining the planet, and like in the context of the story, I didn't really give a shit. I was like, I'm all about Fallen.
The beginning of Starkiller,
and then like you go back, like you can go back after this story, and I saw it, and I'm like,
yeah,
fuck you, Pablo. I hate you guys. But god damn it.
A lot of my memories obviously were like linked to the cast and the promotion, and starting to fall in love with John Boyega and Daisy Ridley with all the interviews they were doing. I remember Daisy like did the video of her like crying from the last Force Awakens trailer, and I was like, oh my god, I love you.
The Graham Norton interview where they both appeared.
And then when all the merch dropped, I was like, okay, hold on, now we're talking, because that's me in a nutshell. But I remember I wasn't into.
Did you just mention them watching the trailer, filming themselves watching the trailer?
Yeah.
I love John Boyega losing his shit when it gets to him holding the lightsaber. It's brilliant.
He jumps off the couch. Yeah, and then Daisy crying in bed. It was so like that was a special time, man. We were still a proper society at that point.
I even remember when they were filming.
Have you guys seen the Graham Norton interview with the two of them? Because they went on Graham Norton, the Graham Norton show here in the UK with Carrie Fisher. Yeah, and they talk about like their experience, like telling people. And John's like, I told the taxi driver.
Nice. Oh yeah, that's right.
I won't do the accent, but my favorite is like, oh, I told my dad, and he's like, oh my god, that's amazing. What is Star Wars?
I remember when they were they were even like on social media more. Right. I feel like because I feel like they maybe had a Twitter account, and she was definitely she was very much on Instagram. I feel like even just like days where they would post and be like, oh, well, I have a little bit of a cold. Does anybody have any tips? Or like, oh, I have an early call tomorrow morning. I got to get to bed. Like stuff like that, like not important and not even really that interesting, but just like, oh my God, they're filming another Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah. And even, I feel like I remember John talking about like he was rewatching Clone Wars sometime during that. I don't know if that's true or if I made that up and I'm misremembering, because again, it's been 10 years. But I feel like I remember him saying he was
I'm going to have to look that up.
I remember him going and like having some pretty like deep cut knowledge on a lot of stuff during the like when the like the geekier sites in channels would do their like press interviews. They'd be like, oh my God, I know who you are.
I can talk to you about this.
Exactly. And I just remember certain clips where like the real like the Star Wars nerds would like ask questions. It's like, is this thing related to Darth Plagueis? And like they very clearly have no idea how to react because they don't know what they just said, but they're just
that's the one thing I don't miss from this era. Well, kind of in the sense
the theories
of the Darth Plagueis. Who's Darth Plagueis? Is Snoke Plagueis?
Yeah, that was the big
who's
one.
Rey related? Who's Rey's ancestry?
I remember before when the first teaser dropped, it was like, all right, so Rey has to be Han's daughter, and Poe is Luke's kid, and Lando is obviously Finn's father. Like everyone just
had to be related. Finn is Lando. I'm like,
it's like, and then it was like, well, Rey is obviously Luke's kid, and then like it just kept going back and forth and back. Like
I will say, I was a hardcore like, oh, Rey is Han and Leia's daughter theorist. That being said, now 10 years later, I'm like, okay, that's fine. And even like 45 minutes into the movie, I was still kind of holding out hope. And then I was like, oh man, I hope they didn't just abandon her. Like that would be even worse than not having them related.
I was remembering that when I was doing my watch, because we get to the I've never seen this much green in the whole galaxy scene. And Han just shoots her this look. And I'm just like, oh wait, hold on. Is this like them hinting that this is his long lost kid. But I'm trying to remember if I was more a Luke truther or a Solo truther, but that was like the big thing. I was like, who is everyone? And then with the merch, I remember I wasn't collecting Black Series figures yet, but I was like very big into Funko Pops at this time. So I was like, okay, I got Finn, Rey, Kylo. I think I got Phasma, and I was like holding out like, I'm not gonna get BB-8 yet because I'm worried it's gonna be like the comic relief character. And then the movie came out, and I loved him, and I got like everything BB-8 related I could. But
I love BB-8. I have the Sphero BB-8 hanging around here somewhere. I think I might have him in this room. I just need to make sure.
I remember when
I love that little guy. He's great.
I remember when BB-8 was introduced, there was all the whole thing of like, oh, who's the better droid, R2-D2 or BB-8? For me personally, BD-1. I'm just kidding. It's R2-D2. But I just remember all that happening of like the R2-D2 versus BB-8 debates. And like obviously I was a senior in high school going into those debates, and now I'm just kind of like, what the fuck was I on? Like, this is stupid.
Do you remember when the life-size remote control BB-8 got released, and like that was like the big thing? I don't know if it was life-size, but like that was like the big thing.
Oh my god!
Wait, they did the BB-8 thing for Force Awakens? Oh,
yeah.
No, I'm thinking of Dio from Rise of Skywalker when he comes out on the celebration stage. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm like, wait a minute. I confused the two.
Yeah, no, they had like a BB-8 come out at a lot of the panels.
That's right. I
remember getting giddy seeing R2 and BB-8 together.
Yeah, no, it was.
Dude, honestly, my only memory with Force Awakens, like all the trailers we're talking about, I don't remember fucking seeing them. I just remember the day of. I do not remember it. I'm so mad because Jabba the Hutt. Oh, Ezra Bridger. That too. But God, Force Awakens. Yeah, I really don't remember too much.
Rebels had come out at that time, hadn't it? That was mad.
That's right. That's
the
funny.
main thing I can remember.
I love that you said that was bad, and then Matt
we were like,
it's not for the Republic without technical difficulty.
Yeah. But like my memories are really just like, which we'll get to, is like the day of, or the day of / the night of when I saw it, and then I got spoiled on something.
Sense memories.
And I got spoiled on something big like sometime prior. I won't say what until Mads rejoins, but I'm pretty sure everybody can guess what it is.
I have a feeling.
Yeah.
I think so.
Could say you have a bad feeling.
I didn't get spoiled on anything, but my mother got spoiled on like a bunch of the plot, and there was like one thing that she got that I could see that she was upset having read. It was kind of an emotional thing, and I was like, what is it? And she was like, no, I can't tell you. And we've got to see the film. And I remember the pit just before the scene happened. I could feel my mum's energy change in the cinema, and I was like, this is what it was. This is what the scene was. And I think the viewers can probably guess what the scene in question was, which we'll get to. But like, yeah, it was a mad time with like the spoilers and stuff, like not really, like not being aware of anything that was going on. Like the plot was shrouded in such mystery, and there was a plus and a negative to that in terms of J.J. Abrams's
the plot
strategy,
was shrouded with such mystery. And then you cut to Rise of Skywalker. Unfortunately, 99% of it getting leaked. However, the production issues with Rise of Skywalker have been documented.
Oh, they've been documented,
and the fact that it should have been pushed back.
We can now segue into the opening night of this movie, and then we'll actually talk about our favorite parts of the movie and what we remember.
I should have really rewatched this movie, man. I was straight up. I'm not even kidding you. A part of me was like, "Oh yeah, I can go into this cold. I can talk about my favorite parts of the movie." And then when you said that, Andrew, I was like, fuck. I can't.
No.
I'll look up a quick synopsis.
But I will tell this story. I teased it last episode to Connor. I will tell it again. So at this time, I was working at a movie theater.
Yes. Okay.
I worked there from before Force Awakens came out, but I worked the first 4 Disney movies, the Disney Star Wars movies. So Solo was the last one I worked. I had left that place by the time Episode 9 came out. But Force Awakens was the big one. And there were talks for months of like, this is going to be the busiest weekend we've ever had. Like, we need all hands on deck. We need everyone working. At the time, I was still 17 when this movie came out. And the movie opened on a Thursday. And the laws in my state, at least with this place, is you can't work past 10 o'clock and you can't work more than 4 hours on a weekday if you're a minor. So I, thinking I was smarter than everyone, was like, okay, tickets are on sale. I can't work past 10, so I'm going to buy tickets to the 1040 IMAX, see it Thursday night. I'm going to be golden. Like, 3 days after I do that, they give up like all the teenagers that work there like slips to sign, like bring this home to your family and have them sign it so you can work past 10 on that Thursday. And I'm like, no, I bought my tickets. I'm seeing the fucking movie. So I almost like there's a universe where that was the last shift I worked there would have been that day. But they were like, okay, can you work at least till 10? And I was like, yes. So I think I literally worked till like 10:10, ran, changed my clothes, put Resistance versus First Order hat that I had at that point on, and walked in and saw it. The crowds were insane. Like, it was like looped around the like lobby kind of crowds, which I've never seen before. They had like at the theater I worked at, there was like one concession stand, and then they had another one that they hadn't used in like years. They like had abandoned it, hadn't used it because traffic was down. And this was back in 2015. And then they reopened it specifically for that opening weekend, and then closed it again like a couple months later. But it was
nice.
Oh God, 17-year-old Andrew thinking he can beat the New York State Department of Labor. I was wrong. I was wrong. They're like, no, we will exploit minor laws if we can, because we need people. They're going to be watching the Star Wars movie. But I just remember being terrified that someone was going to spoil something walking out of the theater, or I was going to, because I had to clean some of the theaters too for the first show times, and I was like, I am not stepping foot into this theater until the credits are done rolling, because that was another big thing at this point. Because of the MCU, it was like, is there going to be a post-credit scene for The Force Awakens? And there wasn't, thankfully. But I was like, I am not stepping foot in this theater. We actually had a couple ushers at that point that were like going up to people at the beginning of the theater and like, just so you guys know, there's no after credit scene, so you can leave. And I'm like, dude, I want to listen to the John Williams story.
I appreciate those people. Yeah.
So
those guys are the heroes.
So like, I was like terrified, but I get there, open and crawl. Everyone starts applauding when the Star Wars fanfare hits Force Awakens, and then you see Luke Skywalker has vanished, and everyone loses their shit. And it's just like, oh man. I mean, again, it's still, I talk about this a lot, but the opening night for this movie that's showing, still, as sad as it sounds, is one of the best nights of my life, because I just remember like, it's freaking Star Wars again, and I got to see Han Solo again. I got to see the ending shot with Luke. I fell in love with these new characters, Finn, Rey, Poe. I just like, it takes me back, man.
Yeah.
It was a nicer time back then, and every time I revisit this movie, I posted on Letterboxd when I rewatched it. I said, this is the Star Wars equivalent to me of a warm blanket on a cozy winter's day, and that's very fitting right now, considering how cold it's been lately for me. But it's just I don't know if it's the one I revisit the most. There was a time it was, but every time I watch this movie, I get really happy. And no one's ever going to take that away from me. No matter how many times people try to say, hey, the sequel trilogy, people don't like it. People didn't like this movie when it came out. You're lying, because I witnessed it, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. But this was very special. for me. Connor, I know you've been talking about the opening night for this one.
Yeah.
What do you remember from your first time watching this movie?
So I remember, and I can it's funny because this is like the only thing I really remember about Force Awakens is that night specifically. It's so weird. I don't remember anything in the aftermath, nothing. Well, actually, no, I do remember, unfortunately, and this was partly my fault, mind you, I did get spoiled on Han Solo's death.
Wait, he dies in this movie?
Because I was on I forget what site I was on, but I was scrolling through, I forget what. And it was just one of those hastily photographed screen grabs from the movie.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And
no.
it was the exact moment where he gets it's him getting stabbed. And it was just so low quality. I saw it, immediately swiped up on it, and I just gaslit myself into being like, that's not real. That's not real. That wasn't it. That's not real. I just straight up gaslit myself. But I remember specifically, I can't remember if I think I came home from track practice that day. And before then, my mom was like, yeah, your brother's trying to get us tickets for the movie and he's not sure if he's able to. I remember I come home, she said we were able to get them, and I was pumped. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go see Star Wars in theaters. And I'll never forget what I did for the 3 hours beforehand was just play the new Battlefront game. That's all I did to get into the mood. I did that, and I think I listened to, I cannot remember at all. The soundtrack wasn't released before the movie, right?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay,
it wasn't a Qui-Gon's Noble End situation.
Yeah, it wasn't a Qui-Gon's Noble End or the Revenge of the Sith video game type beat. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was listening to Star Wars music and playing Battlefront, the 2015 Battlefront, to just really get back into the mood. And it helped. And I remember we get to the theater. It was a Regal. And I mentioned this specifically because I remember that theater was always kind of packed sometimes, but not really. Not for Force Awakens, man. Dude, the line was just so goddamn long. There were people in costumes and everything. It was great. I was not in a costume. I did not think to. I didn't have the money to buy a costume.
Mandalorian Adam Driver.
I should have.
You should have.
I need to do that as a costume.
Someone
now.
needs to do that.
Group Halloween costume. Yeah.
Mandalorian Adam Driver from the Force Awakens fake poster.
But I remember someone's probably already done it. That's the thing, Andrew. Someone's probably done it.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I remember going in the theater, seeing the movie, and again, the two things I remember specifically from my first showing, and I think this was actually the only time I watched it in theaters because I was in high school and there was that structure with high school that wasn't really there with college. Maybe I did see it more. I don't remember, dude. But
my biggest regret is I only saw it one time because I couldn't get other people to go with me.
That was probably also me too.
That and Rogue One are the only ones that I have not seen more than once, which is
interesting. Because I saw Rogue One 3 times in theaters.
Oh,
One time was on my friend's birthday, which was the same day that Carrie Fisher passed away.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Yay!
That ending must have hit
dude, I was bawling my eyes out. I mean, that whole time. I mean, dude. The 2 hours beforehand, when I got the TMZ notification, I was like, "This is fake. There's no way." And then I saw other trades reported.
It literally ruined my day.
Yeah,
I
have almost a reverse thing because I had seen Rogue One that previous night before she died, and I knew that she was in the hospital. And my mom happened to get the notification. I was sitting in the kitchen. This was over winter break, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Carrie Fisher just died." And my first thought was, no, she didn't. I just saw her yesterday in Rogue One. I mean, obviously not. And I was like, oh God. And then the whole rest of the day, I was out of it. And then being a fan, again, of Singing in the Rain, now that's come up twice. And Debbie Reynolds the next day. That was not a good time.
I forgot it was immediately after.
It was next day. Awful. Awful. Well, anyways.
But yeah, the two things I remember from my showing of Force Awakens was getting that confirmation that I did indeed get spoiled on Han Solo's death.
No.
And here's the thing. It's so funny because I never really cared about Han Solo as a character, really, until Solo, when Alden Ehrenreich played him and did a phenomenal job. But I remember specifically feeling like I just got punched in the gut when he got stabbed. And then I also remember the other thing I specifically remember thinking was when Rey uppercuts Kylo in the forest and he just drops. And I'm like, holy shit, they just Darth Mauled him. And then it's like, they didn't.
I remember there was like a half a second where I'm like, wait, did they kill Kylo Ren in the first movie?
I was like, oh my God, they just Darth Mauled him. And I should have known better.
I was like, screw you, you piece of shit.
Yeah, no, everyone was mad at that dude for a while.
I was in like full Kylo Ren hater mode.
Dude, same. Yeah.
I was like,
I will say,
Kylo Ren hater mode at that point. I was like, screw you, screw you. You killed Han Solo.
I don't know if I hated Kylo Ren, but I do remember leaving the movie being like, okay, I don't really care about him. But then when I saw Last Jedi, I was like, oh damn, this is one of this is a top for sure 10, if not 5 character for me. But Force Awakens, I was like, I could give or take.
Yeah, for me,
that's fine.
It's so funny because with each movie
cool.
I had,
it's pretty all right.
It's okay.
So you guys, I have been out of the loop because my internet completely died, so I've been out of the loop. So you guys have you guys shared like your experiences
Connor and I
of watching
shared
Star Wars.
our opening night experiences. So we're
my
going
opening
around
and
right
only
now.
night.
Yeah.
So.
I just thought of something that I have moved to the furthest depths of my brain, but it came to mind talking about Kylo Ren. I remember
Is this good or bad?
This is a case of fan theories sometimes go too far. There was a theory for the week before the movie came out, even though we all knew Adam Driver was playing Kylo Ren, that Kylo Ren was actually either a dark side Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Or was Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
I remember Luke stuff.
I do remember
The
this.
scene when Rey is being interrogated, when he takes the mask off, I'm like, is this going to be fucking Mark Hamill? And then it's perm Adam
that's
Driver.
The other thing I remember.
And I'm
Adam
like,
Driver with
okay,
really nice hair.
sigh of relief.
Dude, that's the other thing I remember. When he took off the mask and it cuts and he looks up and it's him, first thing that went into my head was the fucking Squidward meme of, oh no, he's hot! I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Exactly that.
But anyways,
it's such a great subversion. He takes the mask off and he's got this perfect hair and he looks all kind of he looks like a good guy in a way. Despite the glare that Adam Driver has. It's brilliant.
You imagine it ocean.
I forgot about that
so much.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Donovan, so good. The way it just shifts, the way the energy shifts. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I have a lot of sense memories of the first time we watched. I went to watch Force Awakens with my family. We went to, I think it was around.
Oh no!
In the cinema.
All right.
We had all the trailers and stuff, and the silence. There was a deathly quiet that fell over the cinema. You could drop a pin when the Lucasfilm logo showed up, and then the iconic blue text appears, and then it felt like time stood still. There was a whole period in there where I felt like I realized I wasn't breathing because I was like, oh my god, it's finally happening. And I was like, it was like time stood still waiting for the John Williams music to kick in. And then the logo, I just remember thinking, oh my God, it's real. Oh my God, it's happening. This is insane. And I remember because of what we said before about the mythic status of episode 7. I remember because I wasn't sure if they were going to use episode 7 as stuff. And then when it rolls up, episode 7, The Force Awakens, I remember getting such a thrill of oh, it's really episode 7. They're really using that for the crawl. But there's so many moments in that film that just stayed with me, and even now rewatching it 10 years later, I can still sort of tap into kind of like the Force. The whole opening scene with Rey is one of my favorite sequences ever put to Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's a perfect introduction.
It is.
It's like everything. You learn so much about the character in those segments.
Yeah.
The Scavenger soundtrack by John Williams, it is beautiful. It is one of my favorite pieces of music in Star Wars. It's so perfect. It's so different from everything we've had in Star Star Wars before then, but it feels so quintessentially Star Wars at the same time. I remember feeling like seeing that and being like, wow, this is really cool, really cool new character. And I remember the scene with her and Finn running, and just that like the incredibly kinetic
the
shot
garbage
where they're
will
like running towards the camera.
Cut
Oh my
into
God.
The explosions
yes.
are going off, and you got the exchange of dialogue. It's like, say what you want about J.J. Abrams. He's a really kinetic director. When he's directing those kind of like brilliant action scenes where the camera's moving, it's so freaking good.
Mhm.
And I just love watching them like run, and they're talking to each other, and you've got that exchange of like, what about that ship? That one's garbage. And my mind, before it even cut to it, I was like, oh my God, it's the Falcon. Holy shit, the Falcon is there, and they're going to use the Falcon. Then you get that moment, like, the garbage will do, and they run to the Falcon, and I was just, it's just so good. It's such a great sequence like that follows, which I'm going to just pause briefly, Andrew, because as I said at the start, I have a little something to show off.
Do you have something
I just
for
would
us?
like to briefly interrupt this for an impromptu episode. It's just a little something, just like a little tiny something my mum got for me from eBay. But like, it's time for an episode of Scavenger Show and Tell.
Absolutely. What do you got for us today?
Yes.
What is that?
So,
Dude,
so
I thought
like a little Star Wars
from the
weighted
distance,
cube
I thought that
got.
was an Arabesh.
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
nice. That's nice.
Nice.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's sick.
it does
I'll
kind of
take
look
this
like
time-
Arabesh, but basically it's this cool little weighted cube. It has all of these. Yeah, go on. It's got all these
Oh my
lovely
gosh.
phrases. Sorry, in like just written down. Like only fly solo. And this one gets me. This one gets me.
Oh.
Never underestimate a droid, because this was the first line we heard from Carrie in the mock
Yep.
for the Rise of Skywalker, and I remember thinking, like knowing that they had to repurpose that for Force Awakens. It was like, yeah, this is like just a fun little thing I picked up. It's just a really nifty like weighted cube that my mum bought for me, and it's just really cool. So it's
I
a
like
very
that.
brief episode of Scavenger Show and Tell, but I just had to show it off. 'cause it's neat.
Speaking of
Yeah.
the
But,
Rey introductory
like,
scene,
to go back
this is
to,
the
like-
only
Oh,
this
go
is
on.
the only Force Awakens set I have, but Rey's speeder I still
Oh.
have on my desk. It is
Oh
such
my
an
God, it's
amazing
great. I love that
introductory
speeder.
scene. And I will
I-
be talking about
I love it. Even if it
Way
looks like a
before you
Magnum
know
ice
this
cream, I love
character.
it. It's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I have that. I have the Force Awakens. Like I have the troop transport, the Stormtrooper troop transport, the Falcon, and Kylo Ren's shuttle. I believe I managed to.
Yeah, I
managed to
didn't
get all
I didn't
of
get
those,
back
but,
into
like,
collecting Lego until COVID. But I picked that up at Celebration Orlando because I was like, they had the Lego booth, and I was like, oh, I want something. So I got Rey's speeder.
Oh,
And then
awesome.
little did I
Wow.
know,
Oh, that's a great energy
that
to have there.
2.5 years
you got
later, that would
celebration energy.
start a downfall of me having way too many that I have yet to build.
John, you just reminded me about some of my other favorite scenes in this movie, which I know one of us will get to at some point, but a couple of the Han and Chewie scenes, like the scene where they're facing off against Kanja Club and Tatsu Leech, like what was the second time?
Yeah,
And then then the scene, then the little
oh my God,
whip of, like
Chewie nodding like that. And
yeah.
This is another thing I have to get to, because your game is old. There's no one in the galaxy left for you to swindle. Like that whole exchange is brilliant. But like, yeah, like I remember like going through that and just like the thing about Han Solo, because again, I was never a Han Solo guy as a kid. I liked Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was a Jedi person apart from Jar Jar and R2. That was my kind of lane. But seeing Han and Chewie again, it was great. And this is what I said before about Harrison Ford. He's funny in this. He's really funny.
He's
like him
so
and Chewie,
funny.
the comedy together with them is brilliant.
Yeah,
Like the laughs it
think my
elicited, like
favorite
Chewie just
running
nodding
gag-
immediately.
I think my favorite running gag in the entire movie is him using Chewie's bowcaster. It's like,
Yes.
I like this.
Like this.
Like,
Yes.
and you can definitely tell all
I
the
like
you can 100% tell that, like, whenever it came to Han Solo, Larry to JJ was probably like, I'm taking care of this guy.
You can, yeah.
I one of my favorite underrated moments, two moments of mine that I really love with Han in this movie is when, he tells Finn and Rey to go like in the pipes or whatever. And Rey's like, what are you going to do? And he's like, oh, same thing I always do. Talk my way out of it.
Way out of it.
And then Chewie's like, ugh. And then he's like, yes, I do. Every time. And then It's funny because like I guess this just completely flew over my head
Every time.
as a kid. Not a kid. I say as a senior, as I was a senior in high school. But like when I first saw it, but the scene where like they shoot out of light speed from the hangar, and Ray's like, "Can you even do that, cheese?" And he goes, I've never asked that question until after I've done it. And I never got that line until like one of my most recent rewatches. And I'm like, how the fuck did it take me forever to get that? But I'm like, that's so Han Solo.
Something I didn't know until I was researching for this episode was the scene where they take the Falcon out of Lightspeed going into Starkiller Base was originally planned for Phantom Menace, with Padme's ship going back to Naboo. But they couldn't figure it out, and they repurposed it because it was going to be like Anakin uses the Force to help them land Padme's ship so they're not detected by the trade blockade.
Oh.
And they repurposed it for this movie with Han doing it with the Falcon.
Yeah, then you just have Han being like, I am going up.
Yeah.
Or like whatever it is.
There's so many Han lines.
If I go any higher, they'll see us.
Yeah. I guess to complete one more thing.
That scene is perfect. That is my favorite Han. That is my favorite Han and Chewie scene in the film. Like, it's just brilliant. That exchange of like Finn, and again, Finn is really funny. But like, I love that exchange of like Finn going, "Solo, we'll figure it out. We'll use the Force." That's not how the Force works.
It is. I think
really, you're cold?
Yeah, I think it might be the best line in the whole movie. Honestly, it is so good. My theater died when that happened because it's like
Chewie's
it's like there's this guy and
there's
again one of the best scenes of the whole movie, which we'll get to. But it's like the guy that we know from the original trilogy is first introduced is like, oh, the Force, just a bunch of hokey religions. So to have him be the guy that like tells Finn like, no, this is not what the Force is, my dude.
That's
it
not
is
how the
so
Force
great.
works.
It's such a perfect evolution of this. A lot of people like to say The Force Awakens is just A New Hope, and it's just relying on nostalgia. But I listened to the Force Center's episode on The Force Awakens recently, and it's like the movie it uses nostalgia in a way where it's like the nostalgia is almost a character in the movie. It enhances stuff. It's there. Obviously, we're seeing these new characters, and obviously there are some stuff for the people that were there opening night 77. Like, oh, there's the training remote, and there's the
that reminds me of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like there's like those little things. But the way nostalgia is used, and the way that the characters, like Luke Skywalker, I thought that was a myth, or Han Solo, the rebellion general, and Kylo Ren's entire character of wanting to be this grandfather figure he never knew, but only knows the legend of him. It's like there's so many great things. And yes, there are things I don't particularly love. I still am not crazy about Starkiller Base. I'm not crazy about how J.J. Abrams pretty much had zero stuff from the prequels in this movie. And a lot of the tone of some of the marketing was it kind of was bad for prequel fans.
This ain't your kid's Star Wars.
Yeah. And like, oh, we still have
whoever
talked Jar Jar skeleton.
Whoever talked JJ out of including
Yeah.
Whoever talked him out of that. Thank you.
Thank God.
Thank you for talking JJ
out. Or the fact that Hosnian Prime was originally going to be Coruscant, and Lucasfilm was like, no, you're not doing this. Like those things.
Okay, this is another memory I have. This is another memory
the wrong way.
I sat in the cinema watching that, still going when that Starkiller Base scene happened.
I thought it was Coruscant.
Yeah, like I remember sitting in the cinema while that Starkiller Base thing was happening, thinking it's Coruscant.
It's really funny because somehow, for whatever reason, I almost immediately.
And then I remember just like sitting there going, "Wait, did they just blow up Coruscant?"
Yeah.
But then they sneak the line in like 3 minutes later, like, oh, he destroyed the Hosnian system.
And then you get that Hosnian Prime dialogue, and I'm like, oh, you.
Like, oh, cool, just destroy the entire government.
That was like a big relief because I saw that it blew up multiple planets, and I thought, wait, did JJ just blow up all the prequel planets, Boo, and like Tatooine and all these other planets that we know about? And I was just like, I was so relieved when that wasn't the case. Like I remember hearing the Hosnian Prime system and being like, "Oh, thank goodness for that." But like that's one sense memory I have. The other sense memory I have was
you
this
just made me think of a good trivia question. That's all I'm gonna say. You just made me think of a really good
I'm glad to
trivia
be
question.
inspiration for you, Connor.
All right, continue
But
on,
since you've
sir.
talked about Han Solo's death, I am gonna mention Han Solo's death because this is another scene that I remember. Like I remember us like getting to that point, and I remember my mother's energy changing in the seat next to me because my mum had been spoiled on Han Solo's death. And again, she wasn't a Han Solo person; she was a Luke Skywalker person, and it was still upsetting for her to hear that Han Solo was getting killed off. And I remember my mum's energy change next to me and thinking, okay, yeah, this is it. Han's definitely dead. Han's definitely dying. And I remember watching that and thinking Han Solo was like walking out onto the catwalk, and I'm like, oh, he's going to call his name, and it's going to be like they're going to throw a bone to the EU fans. He's going to call him Jason, and it's going to be like a reference to that. That'll be neat. And then he shouted, Ben! And my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God, they named him after Obi-Wan. That's insane. That like I wasn't expecting, and it floored me. It actually brought tears to my eyes in a way because it was so unexpected, and that whole scene was just like the dread I felt knowing that Han was doomed, because I just knew the whole time like there's no way he makes it out of this alive. This is like Obi-Wan. And again, that scene is great because you mentioned about how this movie uses nostalgia. It's homaging before it's deriving. So like so much of the scenes homage stuff from the original trilogy, but they actually invert them or build on them in an interesting way. Han Solo and Kylo Ren scene is fascinating because they even make Han Solo like quote Darth Vader in that scene, like where he says Snoke is using you for your power. When he gets what he wants, he'll crush you. You know it's true. Like that's so cool that they actually work that dialogue in there. And like the visual language of like the light going out, the red going across Adam Driver's face, and that moment where you're just like, so yeah, he's gonna kill him, and it's just like the horror. And again, because like I said, I had such like anger towards Kylo Ren for doing that.
Just
thank you.
And the
like
fact
the hand
that
on the
Kylo
face,
took
it's
it
so
like
tragic.
a champ.
It's so like oh.
Like the fact that Kylo Ren, it's just so funny to me that like,
and again, this is what
throughout that movie we saw that make stormtroopers look like rag dolls, and then Kylo Ren just takes it like a fucking champ. Like I gotta respect it, man.
But now I guess we can
go.
This
is a thing we've said for ages about like Rey. About how Rey was kind of like her abilities, like people were like kind of levying the criticism against her that she was a Mary Sue and all that kind of nonsense. And like the film, it always annoyed me because I watching the film, I saw that the filmmakers, like I remember the filmmakers going to show it. I remember the film like going to great pains to explain her abilities and actually show the consistency of why she can do the things that she can do, why she can pilot the Falcon just barely, incidentally.
No, but Donovan, you don't get it. They don't say anything. She just randomly does it, and she beats a dude.
She just randomly does
with
it.
The
lightsaber.
again,
I'm going to quote the novelization.
Dude, also the moment where
I'm going to quote the novelization by Alan Dean Foster. It goes way further into like how she can fly stuff, how she has an innate like how she's able to like climb around Starkiller Base because she's used to climbing around like the various Imperial transports. Because she's an android, Andrew. She's a droid. She's part droid.
Andrew, I misheard you at first, and I thought you said because she's a Roman, and I'm like, what the fuck are Romans doing? Starring.
Like the Roman Empire, you know, they're just part of it. They've been here the whole time.
But no, I can't believe I forgot about one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars. The moment where Kylo's trying to get the saber. And I remember in the theater, I was like, oh, interesting. I'm like, oh, this is going to be really insane that Kylo's going to have the saber. And it flies fucking past him and she gets it. And I remember specifically like choking up. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Lost their mind when that happened. Because I think everyone was like, "This is where Luke's gonna show up."
My hands
or like they had that,
face.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then
for a split second,
Rey. It's so good.
I remember for a split second before it cut to her. When it cuts to it flying past him, I thought for a very, very millisecond that it was going to be Luke. So,
but it's Rey, and she takes the mantle of the hero's blade.
I remember when it.
It's just so good.
I remember. I mean, obviously,
I remember
all of
genuinely
the
getting emotional at that. My hands flew to my face.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I was going to touch on the
so there's a delay, sadly, with what I was saying.
Yeah.
But Mads, go right ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on the marketing, and I know that there's controversy with how it retroactively it feels as though it was taken the lead was taken away from John Boyega, and I don't want to gloss over that. But I will say the marketing positioning him as using the lightsaber and being the next Jedi, and then having that reveal of Rey taking it, because I feel like when I went into the movie, I was very much like, this is my character, I'm going to like her, and thank God I actually did, because I was like putting all my eggs into the Rey basket going in, not knowing anything about the character. I still was shocked when that happened, and I was like, oh yeah, she's a Jedi, this is going to be amazing, because I figured she would just be kind of the, not sidekick, but like Han character. I guess Padme would be the equivalent in the prequels, where like she doesn't have the Force, she's just, you know, the scrappy, you know, sidekick kind of character. And that was like mind-blowing. And yeah, my theater went nuts too during that.
When you start to pick up that, like, oh wait, no, the Force is calling to her, she is going to be our Jedi character of this trilogy. It was like I was already so engulfed in the character, and then once we get the vision on Takodana, and then we get to her turning the mind trick back on Kylo and Starkiller Base, and then grabbing the saber.
Dude,
it was
that's
all
such
great.
an underrated
so
moment
good.
for me.
And I love that fight. Again, it's how did she beat him with no training? And it's
That
like
whole Force vision.
that's
right.
Again, they throw that back in you in episode 8. It's like, you were bested by a girl who never held a lightsaber.
Dude, that's one of
you failed.
You
and then it's like, well, yeah. It's like that's the point.
That scene.
Is he's overconfident, and he was able to get basically taken advantage of. And also,
dude, he got
we forget
blessed.
he's blessed by freaking Chewie. He's bleeding out. He's dying in this scene pretty much.
Well, like obviously he's trying to use the pain for, you know.
Yeah, and just killed his dad. Like this dude is overwhelmed emotionally and physically.
There's just a lot going on.
And again, we need to. Again, I don't know why we are now 10 years into this stupid Raise a Mary Sue thing, which has been incorrect from the beginning. I think the fact that the dude that started this was, you know, outed as a serial abuser and sexual assaulter would be enough to maybe stop this from being a thing. But
yeah, maybe enough to discredit it. But
you think, but.
Here we are.
What do I know? It's the internet. Maybe
I want to go
bonus points, but
I want to go back to like what Mads was talking about with the whole marketing positioning John as possibly I forgot that. Truthfully, I genuinely forgot how just
Finn was front and center on the posters with the saber. Like it was. Get boy.
It was messed up. That's messed
and it's
up.
Like, I feel for him. Like again, it was a complete bait and switch. And I think it does make the twist way more effective in the movie the first time you watch it, because you're expecting it to be Finn. And then Finn, as we know, retroactively gets some Force-sensitive abilities in Episode 9. But it's like you hype him up as the Jedi character. And again, there's a whole conversation you can have about, you know, leading to misrepresentation of black leads and kind of sidelining them, which you can have, and they're valid. It's one of the criticisms of this movie I do get and I do understand. Yeah. But I do think it helps Rey's character, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And yes, it's unfortunate because I do think this is Finn's best movie. And I think Finn and Rey have so many great scenes in this movie. And I do wish that there was a reality where they were both the Jedi of this trilogy. And hopefully New Jedi Order fixes that if Boyega does want to come back to Star Wars at some point.
That would be nice.
But again, it's like it was the marketing of this movie was famously, we're going to try and do anything to not spoil anything. When the plot synopsis was first revealed for this movie, it was, this is an original Star Wars story, and that was it. So like they were, again, more than almost any movie I've ever seen, were trying to not get any spoilers out about this movie. And I guess one of them was who the real Jedi character was. I remember a lot of the early Rey marketing and like merchandise didn't have the saber. And then after the movie was reissued, so she did have the lightsaber. It's a crazy time looking back on it of like, who's it going to be? And I do like what we got, but I do also wish that Finn did get to have his moment. And again, the moment where he wields the saber against Kylo is one of my favorite parts of that scene, because
It's really
he's
good.
like, you know what? I know I might die here, but you just hurt my friend. I'm gonna fight you. Like, it's just a great moment.
I remember feeling so giddy about the first saber fight in like a decade starting, and it was just like, it was really cool to see.
Exactly.
Yeah, the fact that it was blue versus red, like in the dark, in this dark forest, it was so good.
With all the snow,
but like,
so good, gorgeous.
Before we fully get to like deep diving into this one, Mads, you didn't get to tell your
and it's the
opening
first
day
fight
story
where they use.
So if you want to just go into your story real quick, and then we can go. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be super quick. Honestly, it's very similar to what Donovan was saying. A lot of those points that you brought up were like distinct memories that I had. Luckily, the day of, I had like pre-bought tickets, so I knew I was going that night at like, I don't know, 10 or 11. And luckily that day I had a field trip for like my genetics class, so we were doing like lab stuff, and it was like very involved, so it actually took my mind off of the fact. So I didn't have to like sit in class all day and try and focus on things. It was like actual interesting things going on. So that was nice. But then going to the theater and sitting and waiting, very similar to what Donovan had said, with the audience just like going silent. And it was like just that moment right before the music started playing. I was like, oh my God, it's a new Star Wars movie. And I remember sitting there being like, you need to remember this for like the rest of your life, because this is going to be, you know, one of the top moments of your life probably. So I do remember that. And then I remember as the crawl like faded, I was like, okay, pay attention to the plot. Don't think about that you're watching a Star Wars movie, just watch the movie. So then, you know, it was all of that. And I remember kind of not like coming to, but like thinking again, like, oh my God, it's a new Star Wars movie during Rey's theme and introducing her. And like, we already kind of touched on it, but like seriously, easily top 3 character introductions of all time. Like not even Star Wars. Like I would go as far to say like all film. Maybe that means I need to watch more movies. I don't know. But
no, it's valid, I'd say.
It's
no dialogue.
No dialogue. It's just like one of John Williams's best themes. And again, I'll say I'm biased. I love Rey. She's a top 3 character for me. But it is so perfect. And I was thinking like in A New Hope that all of the characters, you know, it's like a very I don't know the right way to describe it, organic way of introducing the characters. Like it, you know, Vader walks in, which is super cool in A New Hope, but then it's like he has a moment to pause and then he just continues with whatever he's doing, and then it's a shot of Leia and she's doing something and Luke is doing, you know, everyone's doing something and we're immediately into the plot and we're going. Whereas Rey, it's very much like this is a slice of life for her, and we really get to sit and think about what's going on with her rather than just being like, oh, it's Han Solo and Chewbacca, I guess, and they're sitting at a table and they're going to be our pilots. Okay, let's go. And it's just such a good, I don't know, 3 minutes, 4 minutes of film, and it tells you everything you need to know about Rey. You know, if people were to pay attention, know what's going on.
Pay attention.
If people would watch the movie with their eyes open, it would tell you everything you need to know about Rey.
This was one of my many watches. Was my rewatch for this episode, but I was really captivated on how this movie introduces its characters, because everyone is introduced in such an amazing way, both the new characters and the old characters. And Finn, Kylo, Rey are all introduced with, you know, big close-ups of the mask. Yeah, you don't see their face at first, and I think that is all a great way of telling the story. But then I'll talk about the other ones as well. But like Rey, it's like you see, like you said, a slice of life. You see her scavenging the Star Destroyer, which was prominently seen in the trailers of, oh my God, how did the Star Destroyer end up on Jakku? And you get to her like little home base and you see her etching on the wall of how many days it's been. And one of my favorite Rey moments is just her putting the X-Wing helmet on and just
so
eating.
good.
Yeah.
This is worth 1/4 portion. Like, just, and you don't see her talk for what feels like 4 or 5 minutes. And the first line she says is her going after, was it Tito or Tebow or whatever his name is?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tito.
And just like screaming in a different language at him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's Tito, And just, I love how this movie world builds Jakku. Like, oh, Nima Outpost is over there, and we get to see these different characters, and the unfortunate issue of or not issue, but like the legend of the cut Constable Zuvio character that was in the marketing and then wasn't in the movie. But then like you get to Poe, how he's introduced with Laura Santeca.
So who talks first? You talk first.
You talk first. I talk first. The apparatus. It's just so many great lines. I can hear you over the apparatus. And then, Laura Santeca, the first line of the movie, this will begin to make things right. And now we can kind of see it as, were they talking about the prequels?
Yeah, I remember that.
What are they talking about here?
But like, that was a little better, JJ. What are we doing here,
2015, buddy? I'm like, oh, Star Wars is back, baby. And again, there's a lot of my like negatives, quote unquote, of this movie are just like retroact, like in hindsight of like how the sequel trilogy treated a lot of the prequel stuff when Rise was promoted as the send off for all 3 trilogies, and it really is just A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, and again, that's all just now what we know, and what we know of like J.J. Abrams not really caring about the prequels. And
I will say though,
A New Hope is his movie, so we see that a lot in this movie. But I think as a movie, it's still just. It hits you right here. It's so fun. Yeah. It's so good. It's so enjoyable to watch. And Finn, when he's introduced with the blood from the one stormtrooper, we instantly are like, okay, well, we know his character. He's going to defect in the First Order. Kylo Ren's introduced. It's like, get some cryptic lines from Laura Santeca about, oh, you're rejecting your family. What was it? The First Order rose from the darkness. You did not. And it's like, oh, you don't, you can't hide from your family.
Yeah.
So I can't
I'm surprised.
That is your family.
Like, how did I not pick up on that? Like, I mean, that's how movies work, kind of. You watch it a second time and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what that line was referencing.
That's
in
why
hindsight.
This fucker betrayed me.
But I was like, I'm surprised that I didn't pick up on all of those things. But I do have a vivid memory again on like opening night because I think it's revealed first that Han is Kylo's dad. And I mean, like, the implication is there. And then they, confirm that Vader's his grandfather,
Snoke,
obviously.
Where he
right after the Falcon scene.
Yes.
I do wish they cut that.
Father.
Because I do wish that was cut retroactively, because I feel like him saying Ben, that moment would have been so much more powerful
good.
Had we not known.
Had you not, well, and I will say, like, because they said your father Han Solo, and my brother was sitting right next to me, and I was sitting there being like, "Oh my god, dude!" That was another. I'm like,
the only thing that I will push back on about that is, then we miss out on that great Han and Leia moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
If you see our son bring him home, and then the final hug, and it's just like, those scenes are just great.
To go back to your point about, I just remembered randomly about this thing about Episode 9. I think it's in the documentary, or it was Jesus Christ, I can't talk. It was either in the documentary or it was in some article that I read. But JJ specifically has mentioned that. He mentioned 2 things. A, his favorite prequel scene is the opera scene where Palpatine is like, talks about the Jedi and everything.
Yeah.
And then I have to find it, but I remember specifically he talked about like the hope with Episode 9 was that like if you watch 1 through 9 just full through, he was like, we hope that when you get to 9, it was like, oh, this was inevitable at all. Like where we were going to end up, that like there was this sort of inevitability, like, oh, this is where this story was going to end up. You know how I figured? You know how I realized that quote was pretty damn true? The fucking Lego Skywalker Saga game. I'm not even kidding you. Playing episodes 1 to 9 in that game, I was like, JJ cooked here.
Yeah.
Let's see where you're going for.
Danny, I get it now.
Right.
I will say, like overall, not to talk about Rise of Skywalker for a hot second, but I will say it is interesting because, yes, I have issues with moments in Rise of Skywalker. Overall, I'm like, yeah, it's a good movie. It's, it had like almost an impossible task, so whatever. But I will say I did rewatch every single Star Wars movie leading up to it, and I'm sure quite a few other people did. But I wonder if that affected how much I liked it leaving the movie theater that night, because I really I watched prequel trilogy one night, and then the next night I watched Solo and Rogue One, and then I watched the original trilogy, and then that day I watched The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, literally up until in the parking lot to go into the movie theater, and then went into Rise of Skywalker. So I wonder if that, I don't know,
dude,
just a theory. Just a theory.
No, I know I can see that. Rise of Skywalker was so weird for me because it was the first Star Wars movie from this new era that I was like, I don't know if I like it, and that fucked with me actually. Because every other movie
it did for me. I walked out the first night and I was like, did I like it? Like I liked it, but I felt and then I watched it again weird. And I was like, no, this worked for me more. And then I watched it during COVID and I was like, okay, I like this more now, but I haven't revisited it since then. And there's still a lot of stuff I don't like. There's still a lot of stuff I think is really good. And it's just I'm in a weird spot, not to make this about Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, no. But I think my last thing about
I'm in a weird spot where it's like, I like it way more than the Duel of the Fates script. So it's
agreed. Maybe 100%. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read the Duel of the Fates script, but the things that I remember from it, which again is not a lot, but
it's too fanfic.
I was like, this is weird. Yeah, there's moments where I'm like, this is way too left field.
We can talk about this after the show.
We could. This could be a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the best way I could describe Rise of Skywalker for me, I know this is totally off tangent, but I didn't really realize it until a couple years ago. There are a lot of incredible moments in that movie, but stitched together for me at least, I was like, this doesn't work super well. But again, should have been pushed back, needed to get pushed back. It's I wonder why it wasn't. I wonder why episode 9 didn't really work. Oh, maybe it's because the one person who was going to be the lead in it died.
Yeah. Well,
they were in an impossible task.
And not to continue the tangent.
That's for the 10-year of that. But
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Again,
when we didn't know Rey's lineage.
Yeah. You brought up the JJ thing, saying his favorite scene from the prequels is the opera
Dark Side of the Force is a pathway to many
abilities. You want to talk about 2015 theories. Again, when Snoke first shows up and you hear the guttural chorus, and people are like, wait a minute, that's from the Plagueis the Wise scene. That means he's Plagueis. And then there's that moment with Kylo and Han right before he dies, the Supreme Leader is wise. And we're like, like Darth Plagueis. And it's like,
dude, I never bought into that stuff.
I felt into that.
Dude, I felt like I was going crazy.
But
because I was like, none of this is actually holds up in court. And I was so happy I was right. I guess that's why I really like Last Jedi so much, is that I never bought into any of this.
It's hilarious how we were all played by
that. Oh yeah, and I think the one prediction I actually had with Last Jedi was everyone was like, "Oh, I wonder how Rey's parentage is going to get revealed." And I'm like, it's going to be revealed anticlimactically in a line of dialogue. And how was it revealed? Anticlimactically in a line of dialogue. So, but also Andy Serkis, man. I love him in motion capture, dude. Seeing him act as an actor in what was the second Black Panther movie?
Oh, I thought you were
What
going to
kind
go to Andor.
No,
I mean, yeah, Andor too.
I mean Andor
Like,
too.
Wakanda.
Yeah,
But, like-
I was like,
Forever.
oh, yeah, Andor. Oh,
Yeah.
Wakanda forever. That's what we're talking about. Now.
Wait.
Okay,
But no, was he the first one or second one?
he's in the
I think
first
it's
one
He's in.
First one.
because he's in
Okay.
Age
Yeah,
of
he's in the-
Ultron, and then
He's
he
in the
shows
first
up
one
in
in
Black
Avengers:
Panther.
Age of Ultron as
Age of
well.
Ultron?
Yeah,
Oh my god, I haven't watched
Yeah,
that.
very
in a hot
briefly, he
minute.
gets his arm cut off by Ultron.
That makes sense. Okay, I was like, wait, I don't remember Andy Serkis in Age of Ultron.
and then Michael B.
That makes
Jordan
sense.
just shoots him in the head in Black Panther. Spoiler alert for an 8-year-old movie. But yeah, no, I was so happy when he showed back up in Andor because he's great, and it was one of those things where, again, we are not talking about the Force Awakens right now, but it was one of those things where when that episode happened, I was like, that sounds a lot like Andy Serkis, but that can't be Andy Serkis because he's Snoke. And then he like you see him walking the frame, I'm like, oh my god, it's Andy Serkis.
We should just title this episode "Force Awakens" (parentheses) and other things.
And other things.
Wait, really quick. Since we're kind of on tangents, related though to the Force Awakens, the Han and Kylo scene. I will say, one, as a Han Solo fan, absolutely heartbreaking, but such a good scene that you can't even be mad about it. But when I was rewatching all of the movies prior to Rise of Skywalker coming out, that was the scene that I think hit me the hardest out of everything. I was like seriously sobbing so hard that I got a headache. It was embarrassing, but it was like, oh my god. But I felt so vindicated from that emotional reaction when Rise of Skywalker came out. I was like, yes, this is why I cried so hard a few hours ago.
When I heard
because of this scene.
Oh god, yeah, I remember hearing when he, before all that happens, and I hear "Hey kid," and I was like, no fucking way.
Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah, I was like, wait, he's here.
Of all things, we are not seeing Harrison Ford in this damn movie. It's
no.
And then he shows up, and we're like, oh. But getting back to
the
Harrison
Force Awakens.
Ford, I guess.
Back to Force Awakens, Harrison Ford.
Let's talk about, because again, there's the great scene with Finn and Rey getting off of Jakku and getting reintroduced to Han Solo. Oh, actually, I'm completely changing my mind here. Let's first talk about Poe and Finn's escape from the Star Destroyer. Because this is just one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Good.
I just
Stay calm.
Yeah.
I am calm. Talking to myself.
It's like, why are you helping me? Because it's the right thing to do. You need a pilot. I need a pilot. Just again, such an underrated Poe line. Like, we're gonna do this. It's just so great. And then them escaping, him giving Finn his name it's one of the best friendship scenes in all of Star Wars for me. Is just instantly these two becoming like the ultimate bromance.
It's so wholesome.
And Finn really starting to become his own character, and us thinking he's dead.
Thanks, Disney.
Thanks, Disney. Here's Carrie Russell in a mask. But anyways, getting to.
I was gonna say that the fact that they make friends so quickly is a testament to not just Oscar Isaac and John Boyega's performances, but the script and the brevity in that script. Because again, reading the novelization, one of the things that I weirdly have gained a lot of respect for is the script by J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan. It's the brevity of it is so good. The dialogue is so well paced. It gets you through the scenes, and it's not overly flowery. It doesn't give you too much. It gives you exactly what you need, and it's precise. And I think I love the prequels to death, obviously, but obviously so much of the prequels was very not pompous necessarily, but very serious. And there was something about watching The Force Awakens for the first time and seeing that kind of snappy, humorous dialogue that made me kind of go, okay, yes, this is something that was missing from the prior iteration of films.
Yeah.
I've already said about Han Solo's dialogue.
You just reminded me of one of my favorites, underrated lines. I'll pull it up right now. It's the how capable are your soldiers, General? I won't have you question my men. They're obviously skilled at committed high treason.
Yeah.
I love that. Even Kylo Ren is funny in these movies. In this movie, he's even funny in that. Like, you've got that scene where he's bickering with Hux, and then you've got the scene afterwards where he's where that officer comes up to him and says about the droid escaped aboard a freighter, and there's that pause, and the droid stole a freighter.
The temperature. And then they were and I know it wasn't supposed to be funny, but I guess the way Adam delivers the line is just, it cracks me up for whatever reason when he's like, "What girl?"
Yeah.
The bit that cracks me up is the bit where, like, after he's finished with the temper tantrum, he turns to the camera and goes, "Anything else?"
Anything else? It's so good, man.
It's brilliant.
And then afterwards,
can I just
when
briefly
Rey
go on a
escapes
tangent?
and he has the breakdown and the stormtroopers walk away. Go away.
Oh
I mean, go ahead.
Okay. Go away.
Go away.
Wow.
Go ahead, Donovan. I need a nap.
I'm gonna build. Yeah, the stormtroopers walking away is a hilarious moment of comedy. So you have to bring that up, Andrew. That's brilliant. But like, I was just gonna go off about Kylo Ren's design and stuff, because that's another thing I love about this film. Like despite what people say about some of the sequels, there is so much thought put into The Force Awakens and the production design and the look of its characters. And Kylo Ren is a really good example of that. You know, people complained about the broadsword, the kind of crossguard lightsaber design, but the more you think about it, the more that design rocks. Like, the whole crossguard thing is really cool. I remember the first time I saw it thinking, oh, well, you can kind of like, you could jab it into someone's shoulder when you were fighting, and lo and behold, that's what he does with Finn. But the fact that it's like a sword on fire, because of the crackly nature of it, it looks like a sword on fire. That's cool in and of itself. But it also, like, if you want to get really like mythical and like go into like texts and stuff about it, it really evokes the kind of like religious imagery of, like, you know, the kind of flaming broadswords used by like the angels in ancient biblical texts. And, you know, given that Kylo Ren is kind of like you know, he's a fallen angel in a lot of ways, you know, and they can be more explicit about it because, you know, unlike Darth Vader, who was like, he was originally conceived as like the Red Baron, the Black Knight melded together, and then they grafted the fallen angel stuff onto him later. With Kylo Ren, they get to be more explicit, and giving him that kind of flaming broadsword look with his lightsaber kind of really evokes the kind of imagery of like Azrael or Lucifer. And I just love that for that character. It's like, it's the thing I kind of just arrived at really recently, like reanalyzing the film. Like, you know, there's so much thought and care put into Kylo Ren, where he's not just a wannabe Darth Vader, even if metatextually that's kind of like where his motivation comes from. He wants to be the next Darth Vader, even if he doesn't believe he's capable of being that.
The unstable nature of his blade is like such a perfect visual representation of like the conflicted nature of his character. Because there's so
again, the call to the light.
It's just so
Supreme
good.
Leader senses it.
But to finally get to that Han reintroduction, which we've talked about, the build up of someone's boarded the Falcon, who is it going to be? We know it's Han, but like them trying to figure out who it's going to be. Han comes in, we get the Chewie, we're home, and it's just, there's so many wonderful lines. Are you the guy that did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs? Wow,
14. And I love the bit where Han, where after Han's walked away and they know he's Han Solo, and you've got that bit where like Finn turns to like Chewie and goes, "Wasn't he a war hero?" And Chewie just goes,
no, man.
And then
again, not related to Force Awakens, the Kessel Run sequence in Solo, top 5 sequence.
Say, hey, Solo, I'm kind of a big deal in the Resistance. Did you just call me Solo?
Yeah.
Listen, big deal.
Listen, big deal.
Women always
you have a bigger
find
problem.
Out. Always.
Again, Finn is funny in this. This is another reason I warmed to Finn so quickly in this film. He's so funny. John Boyega's comedic timing in this is great. Like when he has that obviously you've talked about the scenes with Poe, but like when he meets Rey and you have that moment where he passes himself off, when he talks about like his connection with Poe, and she just turns and goes, "So you're with the Resistance?" And there's that pause there, and then he just goes, "Obviously,
yeah,
I'm with the Resistance.
I am with the
Resistance."
And then the BB-8 thumbs up is perfect. People shit on it. I love you got a boyfriend, cute boyfriend. I love that line.
None of your business.
He's so awkward. Him trying to grab her hand on Jakku to like help her up, and then the perfect
hand
switching that around when he's on the ground and she gives
and he
him
gets
her
up
hand.
after he gets up and goes, "Are you okay?" And she just pauses and goes, "Yeah."
Perfect.
But, like, that whole BB-8 scene is great though. Like, my favorite bit is the bit aside from the thumbs up is the bit where like he says, "Oh, go on, BB-8, tell it," and you just got that moment of BB-8 going, like you just feel that droid's anxiety in that sequence. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Finn and Rey's dynamic is another one of my favorite parts of the whole movie and the whole sequel trilogy in general. It's a big reason why, admittedly, I was a big Finn Rey at the time of this movie coming out. And then I just love their friendship and the arc they go on in this movie. And it's on rewatch, just feeling Finn's pain when Rey is abducted by Kylo Ren, and the fact that he goes to Starkiller Base just to save her, even though he knows he has no real plan, and how he sticks up for her at the end against Kylo. And then again, that's why their reunion in TLJ, the lifting rock scene, is the one part of that movie that makes me cry every single time, because it's such a wonderfully shot, wonderfully put together moment. And the fact that we have these two characters that were side by side the entirety of this movie. Come next movie, they're separated the entire movie, and they finally get that reunion of, again,
it's like
oh, I know I'll see you again.
It's like R2 and 3PO being like absent from each other for most of Empire. You feel that reconnection when they meet each other again, and it's really palpable. And John and Daisy have such a great, like, natural chemistry. You really buy that they have this newfound affection for one another. Like the bit where on Mars's castle, where John says, you know, I'm not resistance, I'm a stormtrooper. You know, I ran into you, and you looked at me like no one ever had. It's so sincerely well acted and stuff. I love that. You've actually kind of reminded me of like another couple of scenes that I didn't get to like mention in my like opening night experience, like and the Han scene was one of them, because again I love the way it's so sudden. There's no like slow pan up to Han and Chewie. They're just in the frame straight away, kind of like in the original trilogy. And I remember the surreal experience of like, this is so nuts, I'm actually watching new Han Solo and Chewie stuff. And the other thing I remember is like the ending, and I have to share my experience of watching the ending of this film, because it is so wild. It is so wild because, again, I read my mum had been spoiled on most of this film, and she knew that Luke, and she'd read that Luke only appeared at the end, and she said, "Is Luke actually going to be in this movie much? I'm worried he might not show up until the end." You know, she was being coy about it, and I said, "Nah, Mum, he won't show up until the very end." And then like literally, because it hadn't even occurred to me, and then we were watching the film, and it gets to the like whole point afterwards where I'm like, hang on a minute, Luke hasn't shown up. And then like we get to the bit where they board the Falcon, and I could feel my mum turning to look at me. I was thinking, because there's the bit where the Falcon turns and goes into orbit, and you've got the whole group shot of everyone standing together, and I thought, oh shit, are they going to end it and we're not actually going to see Luke? I was like, please don't end it here. We've got to see Luke. And it just kept going, the scene, thankfully. Imagine if they did that and we never saw Luke in the film.
You just hard cut and they don't show Luke Skywalker.
And you get that great scene of like
the Jedi step
scene.
On
Octo, and Jedi step scene's great.
God.
Another John Williams piece.
All-timer John Williams.
And again, it's so surreal, that bit of Luke just standing with his back to the camera and him turning, and I'm like, oh, it's really Mark Hamill. And I remember him taking the hood off and just realizing he's not going to say a word, is he? He's just going to stare at the lightsaber forlornly.
I remember all the dumb memes that came out of that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was such a funny experience because I remember talking to my mum afterwards, and my mum was like, he didn't say a word. And I was like, yeah, he kind of didn't. What's he going to say in the next movie? Well, and again, credit to The Last Jedi. I never at all had it on my radar that he would throw the saber, and I love the movie for that, for its unpredictability. It's great. Yeah. It's a wild thing.
It's like
it was I don't even remember what Luke's first words were in Last Jedi. I gotta look this
I think
up.
it's him saying, "Go away," is what I think.
Go away is his first words.
What?
And it's just like it was the surreal of like seeing Han and Chewie again, seeing Luke again, and then seeing Leia again after Rey is taken, and it's like you go from like mood whiplash city in this sequence, because you get back to back, you get Rey's force vision when she touches the lightsaber, and you get then it's the Poe and the Resistance show up. You get the traitor
Oh my God.
fight scene. And then
Do you remember when the
that's
internet
one
went
hell of a
crazy
pilot.
over that
Like again,
Stormtrooper
so many.
TR-8R?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Rey's taken in the forest, and then
It's just
you
the fact that
get,
it tosses the shield and the blaster to like one side like a badass, and you're like, whoa,
It's
this
so-
Stormtrooper's like cooking with
it's
something different here.
So great. And he's actually like kind of beating Finn's ass, even though Finn has the saber, and then he gets taken out with a bowcaster. But then
It's
Leia's
great because
showing back
the
up.
music just drops out. The music just drops out, and you get that like moment of just hearing the kind of like crackle, the plosive brr of the nightstick versus the lightsaber. It's so cool, you know. And again, sound design in this movie is off the charts. Like I remember going
scene in this movie,
like the bit just before where like Han and Chewie like emerge, and you got that bit where Han just like does the 3 shot and like the shot without missing, and you just hear the like iconic like of his blaster is so cool. It's so awesome.
when Leia shows up and you get the Princess Leia's theme again, and then goodness, Han Solo, you probably don't recognize me because of the red arm. It's perfect.
It's so good.
And then that
It's perfect.
is,
And he just says, "Come along, BB-8," like they've known each other their whole lives. It's great.
They're buddies. And then the great like it's probably the first time they've seen each other in a while with Han and Leia. It's like, oh, you changed your hair, new jacket. No, I mean same jacket. No, a new jacket. And then it's like, oh, I saw her
different
son.
jacket.
And then when we get back to Dakar, this is another one of like, it's an underrated moment for me. Like, it's not one a lot of people probably think about as like one of their favorites, but Finn and Poe reuniting on the Resistance base.
Yeah.
Like the way
that's my jacket.
That's a great moment.
Big hug. It's like, oh, keep it. Oscar Isaac lip bite. You're a good man, Finn, and like on the internet. And melted.
I haven't talked enough about Oscar Isaac. I have not talked enough about Oscar Isaac and how much of a fucking charisma machine he is in this movie. He's so freaking good.
So much.
He's so freaking cool. Like everything he's kind of like we don't get much of him in the movie, but like what we do get, he makes it count. Like he's so like you said, the whole who talks first, I talk first thing, and his and Finn's relationship, like the way that just develops so quickly, and you can attach so much meaning to Poe based on the fact on his respect for Leia and Finn's sort of attachment to him throughout the movie. It's such a satisfying thing, and like you said, the whole that's one hell of a pilot sequence is incredible stuff. Like watching him just take out all the ties and everything, you know, it's great. And I kind of love how the films later imply this kind of like surrogate son aspect between him and Leia. It's just really cool. Mm-hmm. Since you mentioned the Resistance base, I also have to mention another underrated bit I love, where with the Resistance medic, like treating Chewie.
Yeah.
It sounds very scary.
So brave.
You must be so
brave.
Do you know she's Christopher Lee's niece, by the way, that actress?
What?
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
Shit.
And also, you know, I have to say this because again, we've gone a while without saying this, and you know, my connection was like kind of struggling to stabilize. It's stabilized a bit now, so I think it's a good time for me to point out there were a few. She looked kind of familiar. In fact, there were a lot of people in this movie that looked very familiar. So you know what? I think it's time for a bumper episode of Who Watch. Yes, indeed.
Oh boy,
got the sonic screwdriver out for this one. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I'm gonna pull up my notes because there are so many.
So this is essentially our segment where anyone that's shown up in Doctor Who in a Star Wars movie, we go over it. I
have to do it. I have to do it.
Show.
This started during our Andor recaps, Mads, and I just kept going with it because they filmed in the UK for Andor, and there was so many British actors.
So funny. Oh my god. Okay, go.
And
do it. Let's go.
Because they filmed in the UK for this as well, there are so many actors. So I'm going to start with the obvious one, Simon Pegg, Unkar Plutt. He was in the first series of the live run of Doctor Who. He played a character called the Editor, who basically looks like Jack Frost if he were a capitalist. And then the next two actors I'm going to mention are Thomas Brodie Sangster from Love Actually and Game of Thrones and stuff. He plays like a First Order petty officer called Thanison. And then Pip Torrens, who plays Colonel Kaplan. He's the one who goes, "Alert General Hux, stop that fighter." those two actors, they share a scene together. They were in the same episodes of Doctor Who. They're in a series 3 episode with David Tennant called Human Nature and the Family of Blood. The lieutenant, there's also a lieutenant called Lieutenant Mitaka. He's played by Sebastian Armesto. He's the guy who gets choked out by Kylo Ren, who thinks he's going to get attacked by him during the temper tantrum. He was in the penultimate episode of Doctor Who Series 1 with Christopher Eccleston in the episode called Bad Wolf. And I also mentioned Christopher Lee's niece, Harriet Walter. She has also been in Doctor Who. She was in an episode where she played a prime minister that gets murdered by the Daleks.
Oh no!
There are 3 more actors that I'm going to mention. The first is Brian Vernal, who plays Balatik, the Scottish guy. Han Solo.
My goat.
You're a dead man.
Tell that to Kanja Club.
Tell that to Kanja Club. He is in
Also
an
great
episode of Doctor Who called The Eaters of Light. He plays a character called Lucius. And then finally, there's 2 more characters who are more minor. There's Warwick Davis, obviously, because he also has been in Doctor Who. He played a character called Porridge. I mentioned this before in our Tales of the Empire recap. And there's an actor called Kieran Shah who plays Tito. And I believe Kieran Shah has been in a bunch of other stuff. I think he was the
Star Wars name.
That's a
Yes,
a
yes,
Star
he
He's
Wars.
been he's been in everything.
He was the Oompa Loompas in the Johnny Depp, Tim Burton, Willy Wonka, the Chocolate Factory film.
Wow.
But yeah, I've speed run through them as quickly as I can. Those are all the actors who have been in there. There's so many actors that have small roles. Hannah John Carmen even has a brief role in this as a first order a technician. It's mad how many little cameos there are in this movie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the end of Clone Wars
God.
in 15 years, and who watches just gonna be? Oh yeah, Matt. One of our other bits is that we started this podcast originally as a Clone Wars rewatch podcast, and we've barely gotten through season 2. And we made this podcast.
I was saying you've had 100. The last
2022.
episode you posted was
since
what, number 100?
2022?
We're number 100. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 4 years in March, and we're on the fourth arc of season 2. Because it's we got through season 1 within a year, but then it's Kenobi came out, Andor came out, and it's just there was the side strike.
It's been perpetual side tangents.
Exactly.
That just reminded me another reason. One of the many reasons I love Kenobi's intro, Obi-Wan's intro in Kenobi, is very much like Star Wars. It reminded me of Rey's intro.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a little slice of life.
Slice of life.
Giant
Exactly.
fish.
And again, you mentioned Obi-Wan. I did not realize the first time we watched. I didn't realize the first time I watched The Force Awakens that there's that audio cameo by Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, the Rey, these are your first steps thing. And I remember getting back and reading about it and just losing my mind. I was like, what do you mean Obi-Wan has a voice cameo in this? It's insane. And again, I couldn't help it. I read into that,
and then
years.
there was that possibility of maybe
thinking,
Rey Kenobi.
Yeah.
Well, apparently on set they were for 9. They were deciding on a whim, is it Palps or is it Kenobi for who Rey is going to be released.
I need to get it off my chest, because I never loved Rey Palpatine, but I made my peace with it. I was like, well, that's not what I would have preferred, but hey, that was probably what they'd always intended, what JJ had always intended. And then Josh Gad, damn him, had to interview Daisy Ridley and ask her about it. And she answered truthfully and was like, well, in the beginning, we were toying with an Obi-Wan connection. And I was just like, God damn it. We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
My hot take is that I feel like the Rey Palpatine thing, I can give her a take. But I feel like that would be so out of character for Obi-Wan to do the same things that slipping from what the Jedi Order was telling him what to do, that it feels like the foil of Anakin and Obi-Wan. That being said, it would have been cool if she was,
unless you buy into the theory that Corky
Kenobi
from Clone Wars is his son.
I forgot about that.
I don't believe that, but I will say every person that I've ever met online that's a Corky Kenobi truther has been like the nicest person on earth, so I can't even be mad about the theory.
They're like
I am
great
something
people.
of a Corky Kenobi truther, I won't lie.
Yes.
I was for a bit, because it's like, that's why we need another Obi-Wan Satine story, but again, different movie.
Side tangent.
I want to just talk about how good this movie looks as well. Takodana is obviously the one I think about, because I've never seen this much green in the whole galaxy, and it's just beautiful set pieces. But I think
such a good look.
So good.
The fact that they focused a lot on we're going back to these real sets really helped this
real
movie
sets,
look
practical
really
effects.
good. I know. If you watch the Force Awakens documentary, they bring it up about 800 times, but it just helps make the movie look
practical
like
effects again.
Yeah,
Take a shot
Like-
every time they utter those words.
It's
it
shot on
really helps
film.
with like the lived-in feeling of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Takodana to me is my favorite looking one, but even like we said, the Starkiller base fight looks great. The snow coming down, contrasting with the red and the blue sabers. There's some just beautiful photo-esque shots during that saber duel. But I think Maz's castle is designed in a really cool way.
It's
so
cool.
many glups in that scene too. It is the Mos Eisley Cantina scene of the sequels for a reason. It's like, whatever you do, don't stare at what? Any of it.
Any
and
of
then
it.
it's just Han Solo.
And then we stare at, oh god. Okay, Mars Kanata. I love Mars Kanata so much. Lupita Nyong'o is so great in that role. She really makes you buy that this character has lived for 1,000 years. She has such wisdom in her voice and such empathy and like wit that has been honed over the years. Like you just believe this character. And
No, I was just saying.
No,
like,
go on,
like
go on.
how Andy Serkis got to.
If
like,
Lupita got
not
to do
be-
another role.
Yeah, if she got to do like another role, like
Absolutely.
as herself in person,
Absolutely.
like that would be cool.
Yeah.
that would be.
I
Really
wish there
cool.
was more
And again with
Maz in the rest of the trilogy.
Yes,
She's
that's
so good in
what I
this
was
movie.
Gonna say. I wish Mars was used more. Well, you can pretty much have her turn up at any point now in the timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you've had her show up in like the High Republic adventure comics.
That's
So, like-
right. Oh
I was
my
gonna say,
god,
isn't she
she's
in
in
High
the High
Republic?
Republic.
Yeah, so
Dude, I need to get caught up, man.
You can
I'm
have her-
I really
Well,
would
I
love
love
if she showed
anywhere.
up in the Mando films or something. I wish Mando
That
would
would be
meet
fun.
Mars. That would
Yeah.
be so cool.
That would
those
be fun.
Those feel
That
like
would be
two
a place he'd
characters that
go.
should know each other. Yeah, he would absolutely go to Mars's castle in
Yeah.
Takodana. It would be so cool. It's such a cool location. It's such a shame that like it gets destroyed in its first movie. But like, there's such a feeling
got
of
Darth
like
Maul.
this film. I think more than any other. Yeah, true. More than any other film, I think in the sequel trilogy, even Last Jedi, I think Force Awakens does such a good job of evoking a medieval feeling. So much of there's so much like ancient myth feeling to the film, both in its thematics, but also its the aesthetics. Like you said, the Starkiller base look is so cool. I love the imperial kind of design, sort of like built into like natural rock formations. It really gives it a more medieval structure. It's really cool. Like I've got my issues with Starkiller base, as I think a lot of people have. It's the one section of the film for me that feels a little too derivative of past of like the A New Hope, but I love the look of it and I love the way and the novelization again. One thing I can recommend for people, anyone who's curious about the novelization, it really does a good job of explaining how the actual weapon works and like what it actually is. Like the idea that it's, it doesn't just absorb energy from the sun; it converts it into kind of dark energy. So it's very on the nose. It's literally a weapon of the dark side, and it kind of travels at like sub-light speed, which explains how it's able to go so fast and stuff. It's a really cool aspect of the novelization. There's like, and it even includes like deleted scenes, like some stuff with Leia, and it even explains how Poe gets off Jakku. I definitely would recommend it even more.
Or say, because you did read the novel in prep for this episode, what are like the big differences or additions that the book has compared to the film? Because I've never.
So you get more scenes with Leia. So you get more scenes with Leia, for starters. You get the scene where she sends Corcella off. You get a few scenes at the start where she discusses sending Poe and everything. You get like a whole segment of Poe getting off Jakku by befriending this other scavenger character and like having a speeder chase. It's really fun. It would have been extraneous for the film. I get why they cut it. You also get like a brief summation of the speeder chase. It's very much a lot of deleted scenes that were cut for time, but are like added back into this novelization to just flesh some stuff out. And there's also a lot of stuff that like fills in what were otherwise plot holes in, I hate saying that word, but like just like little things that people were asking questions about in the film. So like, how did Han and Chewie find the Falcon again? Oh, its transponder beacon snapped on because it hasn't flown in years. So the minute Rey and Finn fire it up, Han and Chewie detect it on their scanners, which is just like, they mention it later, but it's just a nice bit of like, clarification of how they find the Falcon. Overall, I would say like, Alan Dean Foster's prose is a little formalistic at times for me, and the dialogue scenes go on a little too long at times, but other than that, I would definitely recommend it if you want to get like a bit more, like a bit more of a deep dive into the plot of the movie. It is really good. And I do love that they brought back the original writer of the first Star Wars novel to write the novelization for this. There's kind of
that was a nice.
There's kind of a lovely symmetry there.
Does it have the scene where Chewie rips Unkar Plutt's arms off? Is that in the novel, or is that?
Yes, that's in the novel. I kind of wish they'd kept that because it's brutal, but it just would be it's just really cool. And I can imagine Simon Pegg was a bit gutted that scene got cut.
Is there any further stuff on Hosnian Prime? Like that's always been like my one question. Is like obviously a lot of the political stuff.
There's just a brief aside there.
Yeah, I feel like Bloodline kind of filled in a lot of the gaps with the politics of the sequel trilogy, and a lot of the
100%.
One of the retroactive complaints about the sequels is the fact that they steered a lot away from the political heavy stuff from the prequels, which of course, when those movies came out, people criticized that and said, "Oh, it's boring," and now. When the sequels get rid of it, they're like, "Oh no, put it back in. We need more lore." And I do wish that there was a bit more stuff.
It's the kind of thing where it's like,
it is like, hey, they blow up this planet, but we don't really have a connection to it. We just know the Republic is there. In the movie, we really just kind of find out it exists during that scene. Like that's my one real complaint about that.
At least
Alderaan, at least in A New Hope, we know Leia's from there. And that gives us more of a connection. I feel like maybe if one of our characters was from Hosnian Prime, it would help towards that. And I think, oddly enough, Star Wars Resistance 100%. Did that because their main protagonist is from Hosnian Prime. So when he witnesses that explosion, there is some real stakes there. But that's, again, me 10 years on, seeing how the trilogy concluded. Like, hey, I would have maybe liked a little bit more of this. And just someone that wishes we did have a lot more of the expanded side stuff that we got for the prequels for this sequel era. So we could really expand on a lot of these planets, a lot of these worlds, 100%. A lot of these factions and characters, which I hope when we get
does not help that the sequels, that all three of the sequels take place within 1 year. That just really does not help.
Yeah,
but
no.
To go back to what you were talking about.
It's a very condensed timeline.
To go back to what you were talking about, Don, about like how Force Awakens really has that like medieval, almost mythic feel to it. One scene that I feel like for me that really highlights that is the scene where they have BB-8 pull up the map and Han talks to Rey and Finn about like, what happened with Luke and how like what are the rumors.
Good.
So,
I have a
like the
stupid
first Jedi
question.
temple and all that. It's really cool. I love the kind of mythic feel of things. Even Snoke has that kind of like feel of ancientness, and I can understand why people projected the Plagueis theory onto him. But I was also just kind of like fascinated to think, is he just this ancient being that like predates the Jedi and the Sith and stuff?
No,
obviously we find out later.
Roll call here. Like, first time Snoke shows up, was anyone else like, "Oh, so he's just huge"? Like,
yes.
And then it shows him as a hologram. But I was like, I wasn't expecting it to be a tall dude.
Yep.
I was like, is he actually a giant man? Like when he stands up and goes, "General," and I was like, holy shit, is he just like a giant? Are they actually gonna like do like this big, huge dude? And that's why they were kind of like being secretive about him. And then the hologram appears, and I'm like, oh, he's probably just like sort of just kind of regular tall. He's not a giant. I just want to go back to something you said, Andrew, about like the politics and stuff, like just the lack thereof. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, obviously you grade it on a curve because so much of the ideas of what went into this movie were about getting a cultural reset, getting back to what people generally loved about Star Wars. And I obviously give The Force Awakens a lot of passes for that. And, in terms of like not including politics and larger world building, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, I would have loved more world building, but I think dwelling on it too much would actually have sacrificed the pacing in a lot of ways. Because what's another thing that's really great about this film is the pacing of it. It's a breakneck adventure. You barely spend any time getting bogged down in stuff. It moves so quickly. And if I have to be honest, like if we're talking about the whole sweep of the sequel trilogy, I think if The Rise of Skywalker, if you want to sum up a key difference between The Rise of Skywalker and The Force Awakens, something that one had that the other didn't, it would be Lawrence Kasdan for me. I feel like Lawrence Kasdan was kind of the secret source for why a lot of The Force Awakens kind of gelled with what Abrams was doing with like the original trilogy. Having him there, having that kind of authorial nature of his voice in the writing room, like having him like input into like Han and Chewie's dialogue, it gives the film that kind of like layer of authenticity that you might not have got from like immediately having a fresh creative team. It just really kind of like works with the kind of new
how
and
about
old.
The guy that wrote Batman versus Superman instead? How about we put him in the writing room instead? How about that?
I won't lie.
I got
like scared. I got scared when I realized Chris Terrio was working on it. I got scared when I heard Chris Terrio's name attached to it. I was like,
again, we're not having
God
that discussion because I adore this freaking movie.
Force Awakens. Would you like to know something funny? The writer who was originally attached to Episode 9 to develop it was the writer who wrote the Adolescence show that made a big wave in the UK earlier this year. Have you guys heard of the show Adolescence?
Wait.
No.
Yeah.
Jack Thorne.
He was gonna write 9. You're right, because it was.
Oh wait, no. I thought he wrote I thought he was. I'm pretty sure that Jack Thorne was hired to do like a treatment and whatnot, or like help with the script. Because I remember specifically because of Duel of the Fates leaking and everything.
I think it was Trevorrow and Thorne were the original.
No, it was Trevorrow. It was Trevorrow and Derek Connolly. So,
yeah.
And I remember this. I remember this because specifically the script, Duel of the Fates script, is dated like December 16th, 2016. Like a week before Carrie Fisher passes away. Which again, at that point, we did not know that was going to happen.
Well,
but
yeah.
it's fun. Anyway, Mads, you said you had a question.
Oh yeah, I did. I do have a stupid question about not to go back to the novelization, and I can never. This is also partially because I was going through the novelization and I couldn't find it. And I can't remember if this is something that I hallucinated or if you even remember when you read it. Is there something in there about when Hazian Prime is destroyed? Because Kylo's not on Starkiller Base with everyone else. He's on whatever his ship is. Is there a line in there or something he's like questioning? It's like a moment where he's questioning it again. Like, oh my gosh, did I like choose the dark side for the right reasons? Or did I, because I don't know if this is real or not. And I feel like I've posted about this online and people are like, no, it's in the book. But I feel like it as like, even if it was a story for like, from a certain point of view, I feel like Kylo in a questioning moment when they're destroying a planet, it would be something he would think about where I would assume that Leia would have told him about Alderaan and seen her reaction, or the fallout, I guess, to that happening in his life and saying, oh, wait, now we're doing this again. And I understand the other side of it, knowing Leia's reaction. Again, this is me just being not like,
This does sound familiar.
This is not a good explanation of it.
No, I get what you're saying, man. When he cuts to it and he's just like, it gets to that moment, at least in the movie, where like
he's
lasers are going
separate.
across, and I think he's looking at it and he's like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Like he's second guessing himself
and
almost.
again, it really could just be me being like, oh, well, then when he was 5, probably at some point, was like, what's Alderaan or something, and then there was maybe a conversation that happened, and that would be something that would the
What's
act of them
Alderaan?
destroying the Hosnian system would have them potentially like had him again questioning like, okay, what are we doing here? Because I know my mom's reaction to it, and I don't know if this is me just being like a crazy person and saying,
Mads.
Hey,
I'm 90% sure I heard this too, but again, I don't know if it was also
if it's not in the novel, it would be a great for a certain point of view.
It's not in the novelization.
Okay, then where?
Oh, it would be.
Where is it then?
Where the fuck is it from?
No,
did they add it?
So I've got to the
retroactively
segment where it talks about it.
If it's not canon,
maybe, yes, but I've got to the bit where it fires and.
It's not. See, that's what I said because someone was telling me I thought it was in the novel, and then again I paged through the novel probably 2 months ago at this point and was like, I don't remember this. But in 2055, when they release maybe a From a Certain Point of View book for The Force Awakens, if someone would like to write Kylo's point of view, even though he's a main character, I would suggest this
That would
idea.
be a great scene to have.
That would be interesting.
Of like,
I don't know if that's within character
cool.
for him at that point. I mean, I know the whole sequel trilogy, he's, kind of flip-flop. I shouldn't say flip-flopping. He's going back and forth a little bit of like, did I make the right decision to turn to the dark side? And then he kills Han, and then he's questioning it still. And, it's a back and forth struggle that he's constantly having.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a moment. Anyways, that's just me theorizing.
Yeah, it's not in the
I
novel.
could have sworn I heard that exact theory.
Yeah, well, okay, but was it me posting it on Twitter, though, is the question.
I don't remember. That's true. I don't remember. It was either you or somebody else on Twitter or somewhere that was like, had the same brain cells.
Watch 3 days from now, I'm going to post it again on Twitter and be like,
well, I'm going to see some random, like, this is what was posted at this time. And I'm just going to be the Leo meme. Wait a minute.
Hold on a second.
Hold on.
We were just talking about this.
Wait a minute. I've seen this before.
Anyways, but yeah.
I do want to give you the floor though, because as the resident Rey fan of us all, I want you to just because one of our favorite pastimes is you dunking on people that don't understand the character and
Thank goodness you like it, because there's moments where I'm like, I maybe come on a little strong.
So
I
read those threads sometimes, and I'm just like, how the fuck do these people not get it? And I'm very much, I'm like, I don't want to insert myself because, like, I've gotten into many arguments with people online.
Yeah.
And it gets me riled up.
I mean, you can if you want. Wouldn't recommend because there have been many a night where I'm like, damn, I was going to watch a movie, but this guy's really making me mad.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, like, keep going.
I've gotten out of it just because I'm like, dude, it takes a hit on my mental health.
I tried. I would agree. I would not.
I guess just give us your perspective on how this movie made Rey become a character you love, and I guess just set the record straight on like, this is who this character is. Yeah. This is what the movie shows, and that's it.
Yeah, this is probably just going to be a stream of consciousness, so I apologize. I don't know where this is going to end, but I mean, really quick, just going through, like, I kind of mentioned earlier that Rey was one of those characters that, like, even back to when the cast photo was released, like the black and white photo of everybody, it was like, first person I saw was Harrison Ford, second person I saw was Carrie Fisher, which checks out because Han and Leia are my other 2 favorite characters. And then in the middle was Daisy Ridley, and I was like, who is she? And why does she get to sit there? Because I would love to be sitting in her seat right now, but I was like, who are you? And then immediately just kind of fell into the, like, who is she playing, who is Rey, that whole thing. So I kind of followed the character through the entirety from when it was Daisy Ridley has been cast in the movie to the opening of the film, and then subsequently for 10 years I've been obsessed with her. But I guess I'm like, I don't even know where to go with this. One of the things that I think is really successful about Rey that a lot of people hopefully would pick up on, but not the right people have picked up on, is that she's such a stand-in for the audience in The Force Awakens, where she is a nobody at that point. We know that she's a nobody, and truly, when you're growing up on Jakku with nobody else for 10 years, you're still a nobody, even if you find out you have a bloodline of darkness. But she's nobody, but she's heard of the legends of Luke Skywalker. She knows that Han Solo is a smuggler, not the Rebellion General, as Finn points out, but she knows that he's a smuggler. She knows of the Millennium Falcon and the Kessel Run. So she's heard all of these stories, similar to how all of us as audience members watching Star Wars has. And the fact that she gets to take herself, knowing all of these stories, and have these characters be her mentors and live these stories with these characters is such an amazing thing. I mean, me being, 16 at the time that the movie came out, and kind of already wanting to see myself in Rey and adopt her place in the story, that was amazing to see, because I also felt like I had that connection with the characters, because I love the original trilogy. I also love the prequel trilogy, but the original trilogy is also still probably my favorite trilogy. So that was amazing to see, and I wish more people saw that, because I think, to put it very blatantly, I think a lot of people see that Rey is a woman, and they immediately are
you're spot on.
I can't relate to her because she's a woman, or they don't even consider the fact that she could be relatable to them. And not to feel like it's typically men, but it's typically men. Not to be like, not you guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Not you guys, not all men, but somehow it's always men. And again,
no, you're right.
I
hate it.
It's like, oh God.
Exactly.
And it's so funny because I feel like so often when people,
I mean, I will add on.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
No, go for it.
I was just going to add on that, I completely agree with what you were saying, and the sequence of it always kind of struck me as odd that people couldn't relate to it, because it's something I really related to myself watching it. Like the moment where the lightsaber flies into her hand during that scene with Kylo, my hands flew to my face, and I genuinely teared up. I was so I was so excited to see that character come into her own and stuff. I really related to her journey and stuff, and it saddens me that people can't look past her gender and can't just appreciate the character and have to make it about something like that and try and drag the character down based on the fact that she's a woman, rather than celebrating her and celebrating what the character is able to achieve in the film and what she represents. It's it's sad, but at the same time, it doesn't diminish the ray of light that is that character for me.
Yeah. And that's one of the things too that I also really love. I mean, and this is the same with Luke as well. I feel like that Rey is such a character where she grew up in not ideal circumstances. She had nobody. She was a very lonely character. And throughout the entire trilogy, you still see her choosing to be friendly to people and reach out to people, and, just continuing that kindness and all of that. And going back kind of to Luke and Anakin, the thing, not to go off about the people that find their way into my my Twitter mentions, but it's so funny to me that and we kind of touched on this earlier, where there's things in The Force Awakens that are maybe not over explained, but they're thoroughly explained how she can do things, even if it's not 100% logical on Earth. It's Star Wars, it's a fantasy. Whereas Luke and Anakin do better, greater feats with way less explanation and way less training than Rey does all the time. And the fact that people don't get that. And then if I'll point that out of Anakin's 9 and he pod races, and he is able to pod race because he has the Force, but he doesn't know he has the Force. And he's just randomly tapping into it. Oh, and by the way, every other human who's even attempted this has died, and the 9-year-old can do it. But then Rey, you know, how can she use a lightsaber? How can she pilot the Falcon? And it's like, she destroys the like thing at Nema Outpost, and she's like hitting the ground all the time, and she's not even shooting the TIE fighters. That's Finn.
Dude,
like she
on
gets
DLA.
one good hit. Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, how do you not understand, like, what's not clicking? But then it's always funny when they come back and say, like, they assume that me saying, but look what they did in the prequel and the original trilogies, and it's equivalent to the sequel trilogy. They may assume that I'm saying that the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy are bad, and I'm like, no,
people aren't.
It's all the same.
It's
we all need to whatever.
People are so gung ho on thinking that she's a character that never struggles, and it's like, dude, she literally died.
That's all she does. She literally dies. That's my favorite thing, is when I'm like, she died. Like, what do you mean? And I think too, a lot of the struggle that some people have is that a lot of her struggles are emotional struggles. Yes, they have like external whatever, but it's very easy in the original trilogy for people to say, okay, Luke's goal is to train as a Jedi and he becomes a Jedi. Yes, there's deeper stuff to that, but it's like, okay, he's a Jedi, or he's not a Jedi, he wants to be a Jedi, now he's a Jedi, and he's learning Jedi things. Anakin's a little more, because at the end of the prequel trilogy, obviously that's the low point for him, and then you have to come around to Return of the Jedi. But with Rey, a lot of her struggles are internal, just based off of the fact that she is looking for belonging, and at the end she finds belonging, and through that she, you know, becomes a Jedi and all these things. But primarily it's an internal thing that she's looking for, that she then, with the help of others, finds within herself. And I don't know why that's a struggle, because Luke's journey is also a very emotional journey. Anakin's is very emotional as well, and struggling with that. So I don't know, like, what, again, I hate to say it, I think it's just because she's a woman. Like, and that's such like a high level, like, I don't want to say that it's just because she's a woman, but I really think that it's like, a lot of times people are just like,
well, it is.
Well, I don't want to think about it.
No, you're right. No, that's.
I feel bad that I'm just like, it's because she's a woman.
But
they like Leia. They like Leia, unless she's acting how Leia acts in A New Hope, but in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she's being sassy, and then people are sending death threats to a child actor.
Yep. They're like, what?
Guys,
it's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Cycle is
I think it also doesn't help that, like, with Luke and Anakin, we have those like actual physical evidence of their struggles, i.e., their hands getting cut.
Their hand gets cut off, and it's like, but Rey didn't get her hand cut off, and you're like,
yeah, but she died.
She died.
Yeah, she's like, I'll do you. It's like JJ was like, oh yeah, they got their hands cut off. I'll do you guys one better. I'll kill her.
Dead.
She dead. No, it's
She's
like.
dead. Which I will say, have to go back to the Rise of Skywalker for a second, but I will say at the end of Rise of Skywalker, when she was on the ground, I was like, nah, she's going back to life. And then I was like, is she coming back? Is she dead? I think they just, oh my God, she's dead. She's dead. Oh my God. And I thought it was like literally going to end like that. Thank goodness it didn't.
Thank goodness it didn't.
I still remember the most in Rise of Skywalker. This is 100% my favorite scene. Not only in the Rise of Skywalker, but like top 3 scene in the sequels for me is the Jedi voices scene.
Oh, it's
like,
so good.
That was so surreal to me.
So good.
Because I was like, I never thought we'd get something like this in a Star Wars.
So mad.
Like a mainline Star Wars movie. So
well, and two, again, like transitioning back to the Force Awakens, with her looking for belonging not only with like, you know, friends and family, whatever, but just like having a reason to exist. Like, yes, she was a scavenger, and she was, I'm not going to say happy, because the whole Force Awakens, she wants to go back to Jakku because of her parents thinking that they're going to come back. So, I mean, it's not something that she necessarily would have chosen outside of that circumstance, but
but there's that hope with her.
It's that hope that maybe if I stay, and I mean, that was really her only reason for existing, and then finally being able to find the Jedi, and, you know, having that reason and carrying on that legacy. And then I personally love that she takes the name Skywalker and brings that legacy full circle with her mentors and the friendships that she's gained. And again, stream of consciousness, but with the thought that like from The Force Awakens, she goes from thinking that Luke Skywalker is a myth. She's heard of Han Solo, but wouldn't ever dream of meeting him or flying the Millennium Falcon, and then being able to not only meet these characters, but have them make such an impact on her that she chooses to honor them through adopting their name and then bringing that forward, I feel like is such a beautiful moment. I know that a lot of people aren't huge fans of it for whatever reason, but I feel like that's a really good like full circle moment where it brings her into belonging of both the Jedi and people. And, of course she has Finn and Poe and Rose and all of them waiting back for her at the Resistance base or wherever they are now that the First Order is defeated.
But wait, I thought she was standing on Tatooine the entire time.
I thought that she stayed.
Yeah.
Again. Oh.
I know. Dude, I'll never forget. There was one time, and thank God it did not gain the traction it did, because I would have been fucking roasted, but whatever. There was one time I remember after I finished all 9 episodes in the Lego Skywalker saga, I took a random photo of Rey on Tatooine in the Lego game and posted it on Twitter. And I was like, what the fuck happened? I thought she was staying here this whole time. Or I forget what I said. I was making a jab at that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
no,
that's
definitely
blatantly misinterpreting.
Were like wild back then.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the blatant, and the blatant misinterpretation of stuff. Like, fine, I get that if you have a staff, it's different. Like, sure, it's fundamentally different than a lightsaber, but she's used a stick to defend herself for 10 years, and now she's carrying a stick that's half the size and it's made out of light.
Yeah. Dude, Ray needs to have a light. Dude, Ray needs to have a lightsaber.
And also, Luke Skywalker, that has the same internal logic as Luke Skywalker going from flying a T-16 Skyhopper to suddenly being able to fly an X-wing and outfly and outmaneuver.
But see, that's
not trained
everyone.
Imperial pilots.
That's not an issue because that's from a movie we like.
Exactly.
So it's not an issue.
Exactly.
The center's on a man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just Again, this is just a stream of content, and I'm like,
misogyny,
I feel like I'm saying all
Star
negative
Wars
things.
story.
I'm like, misogyny in my Star Wars story or my Star Wars fandom, it's more likely than you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no.
But we've gone on a lot of tangents and a lot of memories about The Force Awakens, and I still just can't believe that this was 10 years ago. Like, it feels like this just happened. And it also feels like it was a lifetime ago.
I still hate
It's just a weird situation that we've had 4 movies after this. We're going to have another one this year.
Yeah.
Which I genuinely do forget is coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm getting a trailer tomorrow to date this recording. We're probably getting a trailer tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Super Bowl. Like Solo releasing their trailer during the Super Bowl, this releasing their trailer during the Super Bowl.
I know.
Am I gonna
Don
remember?
and I had a conversation a couple weeks back where it's like it is kind of cool that we get to bookend the year that we're talking about our first new Star Wars movie in 6-7 years is going to be talking about the first one of the Disney era, and I just think it's been nice to revisit this movie and just look back on it and with all the good memories that we have associated, it was just great to have another perspective as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in for this episode. We could go another hour probably, but we
could.
Yeah.
We could probably tangent about the Rise of Skywalker for another hour.
Probably we can. Probably safe to wrap this up here.
I could regale you all with my Rey Kenobi fanfic.
You could.
As Maz Kanata would say, it's a good story for another time. But again, thank you all for listening here. Mads, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Donovan, I'm going to have you sign off first because I know you have to dip. So I will have you go through where everyone can find you, and then we'll go around from there.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at Donovan Mead, TikTok at Donovan McComish, Instagram and Threads at Donovan_McComish, and Blue Sky you can find me at Donovan McComish.bsky.social. I'm also a question writer for Star Wars in a Galaxy Epic Confrontations, where various Star Wars internet personalities go head to head over Star Wars trivia. I've also written a Star Wars short story that is in the wild on the internet. I need to update the link to it. I keep forgetting to do it, but it's called Scars of War. It's about a clone trooper called Blister who survives Order 66, and 5 years later, after Revenge of the Sith, he meets a Jedi survivor of Order 66 called Shar Kun. So if you like Star Wars and pain, check it out when I eventually update the link to it.
Conor, how about you? Where can everyone find you?
Twitter and Blue Sky, both at Depa Banana. I use those sites kind of sparingly. Instagram somewhat more often at ConmanJFO. I have a Discord. I'm not going to say it here because if we make a Patreon, I'll save that for the Patreon. So yeah, Discord but I have
the bonus perks. That's
the bonus perks. Yeah, you get my Discord because that's where I'm on most of the time. I also co-host another Star Wars podcast called Knights of the Nerd Republic, part of the Nerd Academy Podcast Network. You can find our shows on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts. Just Google Nerd Academy Podcast, and our show should pop up. Like Don, I co-write and co-host over at the Star Wars in the Galaxy Epic Confrontations channel. You can find all of our past, present, and future matches over at the Star Wars in the Galaxy YouTube channel. I like writing hard questions. It's a form of torture, and I love it. And like Don, I haven't published anything yet, but I do have a couple Star Wars fan stories in the works, one of which utilizes some elements from an episode 9 script that was never made, and features 2 of my favorite Jedi. It'll be published at some point. I don't know when.
Mads, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. For those who do not, who aren't familiar with you, where can everyone find you and anything you're working on?
Yeah, not working on anything right now. I have a few things I might do, but I'm worried that if I talk about them and then it never happens, then that's going to be disappointing. So maybe stuff coming in the future, but I would announce if something's coming in the future on my Twitter, which I'm on against my better judgment. But I'm like, why am I still here? But I'm primarily on Twitter. I'm at like the Spark.
Same.
I'm LITE _ the Spark. And then I'm just going to point people towards my card account, which is also linked on my Twitter. It's light the Spark, LITE the Spark.card, CARRD.co. And that's where all of my other social medias are linked that I should be using more, but I don't. So
perfect.
Andrew.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again for joining us. As for myself, you can find me Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Starlight Andrew. You can find me on Blue Sky as well. Same username. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at For the Repub Pod, on Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky at For the Republic Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can get the video versions of all of our episodes, and you can listen to us Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the podcast. I have something in the planning stages for our podcast feed that I'm hoping to drop sometime within the next couple weeks. So that'll be very interesting. There's more Clone Wars coming in the pipeline. And then, of course, April, we're going to be starting our Maul Shadow Lord coverage. So that'll be pretty fun as well. So, again, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for looking back on Star Wars with us. It's been fun. But until next time, take care and may the Force be with you.